Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're grinding out bicep curls or muscling the couch across the living room, crushing morning miles, or sprinting through back-to-back meetings, Smoothie King has fuel to help you maximize your workouts, own your recovery, and elevate your game. Give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs with a lineup of delicious smoothies made to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 259. Doing things a little bit differently this week. So basically the next 2 weeks, I'm a little bit busy each weekend. Not anything cool or anything. I have this comedy show to go to this weekend. My friend Quinlan actually is going to be on the New Japan portion that you'll hear after the Stardom portion. He got these 2 tickets to this Kevin Smith comedy show for his birthday and asked me if I wanted to come. I've seen like 1 Kevin Smith movie in my entire life, to be honest. I saw Mallrats a while ago, so I'm assuming all of it's going to go over my head because it's all like probably for his big fans, which I am not one because, again, I've seen exactly 1 of this man's movies. But it means I'm pretty busy this weekend, going to my dad's and stuff, and then going to this thing. So usually I record on weekends, so I'm trying to take some of the recording slack off of myself this week by recording some of it solo, during the week as these Stardom shows come in. So basically, you're going to hear me go solo here on these Stardom shows. I think Quinlan might join me for like 1 or 2 of them, and then we're going to record all the G1 stuff together since he watches New Japan pretty regularly. We'll record all that together on Sunday. So that's what we're going to do. And I want to start with Stardom anyway because guess what? I'm enjoying Stardom more, a lot more actually, and it's my podcast. So that's what we're going to do. As far as, and it'll be like that for about 2 weeks, I think. I mean, I could have just skipped the weeks, but I'm really enjoying following these tournaments start to finish and like podcasting again. So we did the big preview of the G1, we did the big preview of the 5-star, and I kind of just wanted to keep it going. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm sitting here in my room, recording by myself, after I just spent like way too long trying to re-record a stinger for the, that stinger that, they put before the podcast. You hear, whenever you're listening to Wrestling Omakase, you get a different podcast pitched to you, may or may not be by somebody that hates me. And then if you listen to another podcast, you'll get my stinger. Well, originally I used Shin Takarajima, the Sakan Action song, as the opener, and it keeps getting flagged on YouTube, and they keep losing their YouTube ad revenue to Sakan Action, which I don't give a shit if I lose my YouTube ad revenue to Sakan Action. It's very little money anyway, and but my choice of song should not hurt other people, right? That's not fair. So I found this generic Muzak kind of thing, like copyright free, that matches the Sakan Action pretty well. But the problem is I didn't save just the the actual recording of my voice from that when I did the stinger the first time. So I had to redo the stinger and like figure out what I said, and I think I said something different this time, and I was like really throwing myself off. So yeah, I spent like 45 fucking minutes basically recording and re-recording a 40-second fucking clip. So there you go. That's how I spent my night. Let's go to the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix. It begins with night 1, which was the big 16-match show, July 27th at the Ota Ward Gymnasium. They did a slightly better crowd than I was expecting. They did 1,783. This was actually up from the crowds they did for the 5-star opener in the last 2 years. It was only very slightly up from the one 2 years ago at Ota Ward. I believe like 50 fans or something. But it was up like more than 200 from the Yokohama Budokan night 1 to last year. So that's cool. I mean, it didn't look like it was trending super well when I was looking at the ticket sites. So, it did a little better than I expected. And, when I compare it to some of the other crowds, I mean, it beat New Japan's first night of the G1 by like 400 something, almost 500 fans, because New Japan G1 Night 5 on July 25th did 1,308. So it beat that. It beat Summer Sun Princess, which did 1,384. It beat the Stardom Cinderella Finals back in March, which did 1,378. And it beat Tokyo Joshi Grand Princess, which is the lowest drawing Ota Ward show of the year so far. That did, back in March, that did 1,212. It supposedly did not beat Marigold First Dream. They announced 1,830, so they went slightly higher, but like, I don't know, the Marigold, they may or may not be giving you accurate numbers from what I've heard. And the second night, the G1 also beat it, July 28th. So the second night, I think I wrote July 20th, I think it was actually July 26th. But yeah, the second night, the G1 did 2,250, so it did beat this as well. But yeah, 1,783, not bad for the first night of the 5-star, a little better than I was expecting. Yeah, the show obviously had 16 matches, the main card, so I'm not going to bother with the pre-show match. It was a pretty standard 6-woman tag, nothing you need to worry about. was like all the people that, were, I guess, in the area and were not on the show. So you had, or not in the tournament this year. So you had Akira, you had Fukuoka Double Crazy, you had Saki, you had Emma, you had Kikyo. So, yeah, just kind of just a whatever. Not really anything super interesting. But Akira did get the pin. She pinned Emma in 11:28. The show opened with, obviously, the big gathering everybody out on the stage. You could see who had new gear and who didn't. There were a lot of people with new gear. Even more people with new hair, I think. Most of the new gear looked really good. There's some I really liked that I'll talk about when I get to it, because it's just, kind of fun talking about the cute girl promotions, cute gear. I'm not going to pretend it isn't, even though the wrestling is also very great, as we'll see as we get to the business end of this card. But, it's okay to talk about the cute gear sometimes, too. The main card opener, and the way they did this, I thought was kind of like, it was a little obvious, but also kind of cool, where they opened the show with Saya, and they closed the show with Natsupoi, and it makes me kind of wonder if that was a message there. Because obviously Poi lost to Saya back in Sapporo in that awesome match we talked about in the last episode, and her promos afterwards really make it sound to me like she's not done with this yet, and, she kind of keeps saying that she has a belt she still has her eyes on. I don't think she's going to win the 5-star because I think that's too quick. My pick to win the 5-star, I think I talked about it on the last episode, was Saori Anou, because I think it'd be it's kind of now or never with her. She could win the tournament, get the title shot maybe in September or even November, probably lose the title shot, and it also continues the Kozen looking for their revenge on Saya, kind of for retiring Tam kind of story, but it doesn't pay it off yet. And then you go back to Poi, maybe Dream Queendom in December, maybe even All-Star Grand Queendom next April, and then Poi can finally beat Saya. But yeah, opening with Saya and closing with Poi I did think was, done for a reason. So some of these matches I won't have a lot to say about because a lot of them were very quick. The opener was Saya Kamitani in Red Block A defeating Lady C in 7:25. Lady was really fired up to start this, which was cool. She was repeatedly elbowing Saya in the corner. So we had the, I feel like I've talked about this before, but I think she's made some good progress this year, even though she's not a great wrestler or anything. She looks a little less awkward to me, and she looks like she's sort of getting a feel for this finally. And, the way she got all fired up here, I thought was another sign of that. Saya, of course, won this with a nice little Rana roll up, basically a Frankensteiner off the, I believe, the second or third rope out of the corner. So she just kind of rolled her up with the pin, so didn't even really need to use one of her real finishers. But fun little opener. It didn't overstay its welcome. Only 7 minutes, so I went 3 stars on this, and there's a lot of that to come because there's a lot of fun little matches on this undercard. Match number 2. This is one of the undercard ones that I most wish had gotten more time. So Ami Sohrei defeated Aya Sakura in 4 minutes and 1 second. Aya tried to go after Ami right off the bat with forearms to the chest very early on, but Ami just kind of used her size advantage to absorb it and shrug it off. She's really good at doing that. The no selling the elbows or the forearms to the chest, and just because she has easy for me to say. She has such a thick frame, right? And she can walk forward into it and really absorb it well, and it looks really good. We got a long triangle choke from Aya on the mat that made up a lot of the rest of the match, and I really love Aya's triangle choke. I think she does a really cool job with that, and it looks really good on the mat. And she has that, I guess, real martial arts background, and I love when the girls lean into that. So Ami's trying to power out of it, and she almost does. And just as she's lifting Aya she's going to powerbomb her, Aya turned it into an inside cradle. And obviously, the cool thing about this show is all these matches are going to have to be quick. So every flash pin attempt, besides the fact there's a 15-minute time limit on every match, on a 16-match show, the match is going to go even quicker. So every flash pin attempt is just like a high-speed title match where every single one feels like it could end the match even more than normal. You're just okay, any flash pin could end the match. So yeah, it was a great near fall, where you think Aya's going to actually pull off the upset for a second. And I liked it even more than because obviously the powerbomb on the triangle is a little bit of a cliche spot at this point. But yeah, Ami then put her away kind of right after that. But, it was cool. I thought 3 stars, which is, about as good as you can go for a 4-minute match, probably. But I really enjoyed it. I love Aya's triangle choke. Match number 3. That was Blue A, by the way, if I forgot to say the block. This is also Blue A, match 3, which was Miyu Amasaki defeating Yuria Hime in 2:42. Miyu and Yuria just were pounding the shit out of each other's chest to start, but it just was even quicker than the last match, and Miyu beat her really quickly with the double arm buster thing she does. I think it's called the Tensei, maybe? 2.5 stars, totally average match here, so nothing really to this one. Next match, Red B, Rina defeats Rion in 6:35 with the Pink Devil, the gory special kind of thing she does. First of all, this is the first outfit that I really, really, really love, the first new outfit. I mean, Rina's was cool too, and I think it was vaguely Hana Kimura inspired. But Rion, that new purple and pink gear she had, huge improvement over her old gear. I mean, she stands out way more in that gear. It looks way more like, I don't want to say star gear, but just actual wrestler, who kind of matters gear than her old gear, which looked kind of like jobber gear, to be honest. So that was really cool. I really liked her new gear. Probably the best on the entire show, honestly. Rina, obviously she's been out with a concussion. She really did not look like she missed a single beat here. She came out and she was being nasty. She was doing these murderous big boots. Just really good stuff here. Rion busted out this awesome cutter. The Rion KO, as I saw someone say on Twitter. Skinny Pup on the Voice Wrestling Discord said the twerp cutter. So I just want to make sure I give him credit for that one. And Rina finally put her away, again with the Pink Devil. So definitely the best match of the show to this point. 3.25, very enjoyable. After this match, we got the big show announcement. So they mentioned the September 6th date in the Yokohama Budokan, which we already had. I believe that's called Stardom to the World. They also announced it's going to be November 3 in Ota Ward Gym. So a lot of people in the Discord when we were watching this show live were not happy with another Ota Ward date. But, it's just because the building's kind of far away. It's a little hard to draw in. It's not the best building or anything. But it's probably pretty cheap to run. And the other thing is, they normally do that November show in Nagoya, but the Nagoya venues are kind of dying. You can see that the venue New Japan ran earlier today on the 27th was not very good. And apparently kind of far out of the way to get to, too. So, yeah, they decided to just go back to Ota Ward. Nagoya doesn't get a big show this year, which kind of sucks for them. But, these venues keep closing in Japan. It's very, very annoying, I guess, and very, very tough for the Japanese wrestling fans. The other thing I should mention, too, is I was kind of hoping they would announce officially Dream Queendom. I mean, I assume it's going to be December 29th, like it's been the past, 2 or 3 years, but for someone going to Japan, it would be really nice to hear it, so I could just begin planning and stuff begin, just know that I have that date right and know that that's going to be part of my plan. But maybe they'll announce that during the 5-star final. I don't know. They didn't announce it there. Then we had the Blue Stars B, Momo Watanabe. She wins the Peach battle against Momo Kogo in 2:51 with the chicken wing face lock. She won this pretty quickly. Momo, obviously under 3 minutes. Momo Kogo showed some good fire, but, just over so quick. I went 2 3/4, just perfectly all right match, but not a lot to it. Speaking of matches that were over quick, so Waka Tsukiyama, she's been spending all this fucking time saying she wants a high-speed title shot. She got in there when Waka got in there. I mean, not Waka. She's Waka. When, Unimon's been in there asking for a title shot. Now she's like, I want a title shot. Well, May Sierra at Red Stars A beats her in fucking 28 seconds with the shooting star. This was so fucking funny. Again, under half a minute with the high speed of a high speed match. It was pretty fucking fun for 28 seconds, and she got her with that cradle, and that got the pin. Hilarious match. I have to give it a rating because I'm keeping averages and stuff. So I just went 2.5. I just called it average because they did exactly what they went out to do, though. I mean, it was really funny, and I don't know. It's kind of the joke, I guess, is Waka wanted a high speed title shot, and May next time Waka asks for a title shot, she'd just be like, girl, I beat you in under half a minute. You don't get a fucking title shot. Good day to you. But, yeah, very, very funny. Blue B, Suzu Suzuki defeated Hina in 6:14 with the tequila shot. It started a little bit slow, especially for a match that only went 6 minutes. But they were tossing each other all over the place, pretty quickly after that. Hina did get a very close near fall with the Gato clutch, but Suzu put her away soon after. 2 3/4 for this. Thought it was all right, but, not the best quick match on the show or anything. Unfortunately, the worst match on the show followed this, which was the Blue Stars B, Hanako defeating Rana Yagami in 6:55. I don't know. I thought this was a little dull. Just really didn't do a lot for me. It was cool that she apparently busted out Himeka's old finisher, and that was cool. She had a nice Axe Bomber before that too. But yeah, I wasn't into this. It just didn't really click with me, and there was nothing going on that I was that into. So I went 2 1/4, below average match, and the worst match on the show in my opinion. Red Stars A next. B Priestley defeats Yuna Mizumori in 7:17 with the Plan B. The funniest thing was when Yuna, at the start of the match, I have no idea why she did this, she just turns over to B in those fucking pineapple glasses of hers and just looks at her and goes, "Are you tropical, bitch?" I'm like, in English, obviously. I was like, what? Where the hell did that come from? B unfortunately decided to be very chatty in this entire match. It was very annoying. I mean, I did not need to hear her repeat top Gaijin and especially Shopai over and over again. She just kind of feels like a relic at this point from a past age and just feels kind of out of place. The relic part's probably a little mean. I didn't think she was bad or anything. I mean, I thought she was all right. But, like, the Shopai thing over and over again, it's like, I don't know. I don't need you to talk. They teach them to talk a lot in WWE, apparently, and just, like, I think she also used to do that anyway in Stardom, and it's just very, like, I don't know. Like, please stop. Please don't talk so much. Just yell the opponent's name like the Joshi do. There was also this one stomp by B that didn't look great at all, so that was another thing. But mostly this was all right. She put her right that pump handle bomb thing, the Plan B. Mostly all right, but, besides, I mean, I would say even if it wasn't for the slight botch and B annoying me by repeating the same 2 Japanese words over and over, I would have gone like 3. But I ended up going 2 3/4 instead, so hopefully she's a little less annoying in future matches. But wasn't bad or anything. Red A, Azusa Inaba defeats Hanan, the biggest upset by far in the show, I think. There was one other, both Inaba sisters got a big upset, but this was, well, no, I guess the other one was probably bigger. Well, I don't know. I'm going back and forth here. Because her sister's higher ranked than she is, but her opponent was also higher ranked, so about equally big upsets, I guess. But yeah, Azusa wins this in 5:37. Real, like, screaming no-sell stuff, which I like that. They're just screaming and no-selling with each other the entire time. Another one of these matches I wish could have gotten more time because I was really into it. But the ending was hilarious because Rina trips her own sister up from the floor so Azusa can cradle her and get the pin. Again, super fun while it lasted. 3 stars. Wish it could have gone longer. And you gotta watch out for those evil sisters. They'll get you every time. And Hanan's evil sister here definitely got her. Actually, I forgot about this match. So this is the actual worst match of the show, not the Hanako match I said earlier. So Bozilla versus Raka, I should say. 8:42 double count out. They did a bunch of crowd brawling that kind of went on forever. We had a spot where, like, Raka just kind of held she had the other Hate members hold Bozilla on the outside so she could win by countout. Bozilla fought them all off herself and ran back to the ring. I'm not sure I would have done that when I'm ending in double countout. It was a lot of counting, basically. And then Raka just kind of ran away after that for a while and was, like, running all around ringside in a way that I thought was kind of like, okay, can we do something here? The coolest part of the match was after the running away part. She hits her with the box. She tries to tape her hand on the railing. Bozilla just pulls her hand right off. Like, I'm too strong. I'm too much of a monster. And then Raka, like, desperately throws the box at her. And Bozilla fucking swats out of the sky like she's Godzilla. Or, not Godzilla, like King Kong swatting the planes. Godzilla doesn't swat anything. But after that, though, just when I'm getting into it, like, okay, here we go. Bozilla looks like a beast. Then they just kind of fight on the outside right by the apron. And in a way where it's like, why did Bozilla fight to keep Raka out without trying to get back in herself? It was so weird. It felt really weird and really awkward. I don't know. I didn't like this at all. So double count finish. 2 stars. I thought it was really the only bad match on the show. But thankfully, we would get into much better stuff here, starting with the next match. Blue Stars A, Saori Anou defeats Saya Ida in 10:50. This fucking match, it was chop versus boot here, and Saya Ida was chopping the fuck out of poor Saori Anou's chest. As a Saori fan and a Saori stan, whatever you want to call me, this was a little tough to watch, honestly, but she was really chopping the fuck. I mean, Saori's chest was so fucking red so quick into this match. Saori came back with those perfectly smooth suplexes she does, and I love the way she transitions from suplex right into mat wrestling, like she did at one point with she went right from a German suplex, I believe, to a cross-arm choke on the mat. I mean, she is such a smooth wrestler. I mean, such a smooth worker. Like, she's such a great in-ring wrestler that, like, she is the kind of wrestler that I want to put in front of people when they try to, like, dismiss Joshi or like, claim that it's not good or it's, you know, even specifically Stardom, because I'm just like, how can you not think this woman is a great wrestler? She's, like, one of the best wrestlers in the world, honestly. At least as far as, like, being smooth and technical. And then on top of that, she takes incredible bumps. I mean, excuse me. She's like Naito level at taking a fucking neck bump off of anything. And Saya Ida is like ripping her head off with these lariats, and she just drops straight back on her neck. It looks like it fucking kills her. But yeah, Saori ends up tapping her out, though, with the armbar. And that, oh my god. This was easily the match of the night to this point. The first great match. They went as hard as you could go with under 11 minutes. 4 stars flat for this. There's like basically four matches on this show that are absolutely worth watching. It's this match, not the next one, but then the 3 that follow. So this is the first of the 4 that are like, if you only want to see the best stuff, this is the first one you've got to see. So awesome match. Then we had Natsuko Tora defeating Azumi in 4:18. I liked Azumi like attacking her during her entrance. The Cyber Cat was being a sneaky cat there, very sneaky. Obviously, also cut down on time, not having to do Azumi's entrance. But yeah, it's like, go, get her, girl. Get Tora. She deserves it anyway. But Tora ended up winning, though. Yeah, I didn't really take a lot of notes on this. I think I was still on the high of Saori having such a great match and winning. But, you know, it was all right while it lasted, 2 3/4. There you go. But then we got into the next 3 matches, which, again, all 3 of these are must-watches, in my opinion, just like the Saori match. First, the other major upset on the show. Actually, there was like 3 major upsets, really, because I forgot about one. So, anyway, another of the 3 major upsets. Tomoko Inaba defeated Starlight Kid in 14:13. First of all, again, to shout out the new gear, Kid had this really adorable pink gear. Really, really, really adorable. So, very, very, very pretty gear that I like there. The funny thing is, so remember last week, they did that double leg match with SOK and Saori Anou that I raved about. They come out here and they do another double leg match. So Inaba starts targeting Starlight Kid's leg. And I don't know if Starlight Kid just was like, okay, the match with Saori got so over. And even if, I mean, besides the fact that obviously us nerds online liked it, and it seems like the Japanese fans really did too, based on the reception I read. I mean, it just also got an amazingly huge reaction in the building for a match based around technical wrestling. I mean, the fans were so into that match. Maybe SLK just decided, like, she's going to run with that throughout the tournament. And it kind of makes sense from a kayfabe standpoint if all the other wrestlers are like, you know what? This fucking tiger has been targeting our legs all year long and just taking our legs out from under us, literally. It's time to turn the tables on her and take her legs out. So I kind of like that idea. It's kind of makes sense if you think about it. You know, they were like, it wasn't as good as the Saori SLK match. They were running and jumping a little bit too much for me early, but I guess that had also been before they really started like honing on each other's legs and really done that much damage. And later on, they did start hobbling more, so they did start selling it well. So it was still a great match, just not quite on the same level as Starlight Kid and Saori, because Saori especially was like next level selling that leg. So, you know, and I don't think either one of them was quite as good as she was in that match, but they were still pretty good at it. Inaba did survive I believe the Black Tiger leg killer that tapped out Saori by making it to the ropes, and she eventually fucking taps out Starlight Kid with a leg lock. This in the last sequence where she had the submission on, that's where Starlight Kid's selling was amazing. She was screaming. She was grabbing the ref. She was just like, she was like, had that whole thing where she's trying to hang on. I mean, remember she could at least get 1 point if she had made it like under 1 more minute to 15 minutes with the 15-minute time limit. And she was trying to hang on, and she just, she knows she shouldn't be losing to Tomoko Inaba, but she just couldn't do it. She had to tap out. So I thought that was incredible selling by her at the end, and that's why I ended up going 4 stars on the match. So another great match. Next up, Blue B, Konami. The next big upset here defeats Sareee in 13-24, a TKO by referee stoppage in the rear naked choke. This match was fucking awesome. It was the hottest match on the show from a crowd reaction standpoint, and it was definitely the match of the night. So, the semi-main event here, so not quite in the main event slot. And I did see some debate online about which one should be the main event, but I'll give you the reasons why I think the selection of the main was fine in a second. But what I will say is, of course the crowd was going to be into this. They built up the Sareee versus hate storyline on Twitter really well, on social media and in the media appearances, and the Stardom crowd, I saw people be like shocked, and like some people even seem to act like there's something wrong with Stardom fans for booing Sareee. Sareee has spent fucking 2 months saying that I am the real Joshi Wrestling, Stardom is fake, Stardom is bullshit, I'm real wrestling and I'm going to show you. And of course, why the fuck wouldn't Stardom fans boo her for that? Stardom fans are at a Stardom show, presumably because they like to watch Stardom. So this woman, this outsider's coming in and saying, I'm the real deal and you people are fake. Of course they're going to fucking boo her for that. Like, what are you people talking about? And they booed the fuck out of her in this match. There was one moment where she, like, cut Konami off on the top rope with repeated headbutts. And they were just so on her. They were booing her so loudly. These two women, though, they just beat each other's fucking asses. Some really ridiculous strikes by both girls. Konami at one point, and she's gotten some criticism for being a bit lazy at times lately as a heel. I can definitely see it. I did really like her match with Starlight Kid when she got her one big shot back at the Cinderella finals. So, I really loved that match, and at least she did have one really awesome match for me this year. But I guess I could see why some people think she's a little lazy at times. I mean, at times she hasn't had a lot to do, so it's like, she is a veteran at this point. She can coast in tags, but she did not coast here. She was beating people's asses, and she was getting her ass beat. So at one point, she kicked Sareee so fucking hard in the head, like one of the hardest kicks I can remember seeing in forever. After the match, she apparently complained that Sareee hit her so hard that she couldn't hear out of one ear. So maybe that had happened before, and that kick was a receipt, because that kick was so fucking hard. There was a loud Konami call. The crowd booed the fuck out of Sareee when Sareee would not break her leg lock when Konami got a rope break. And the end of it where Konami's like choking her out. Daichi, the referee, is down there checking on her repeatedly, and he finally has no choice but to stop it. Fucking awesome. 4 1/4 match of the night. Again, definitely another match you have to see. Now, the main event. Natsupoi defeated Sayaka Kurara in 11:56 with the fairy ring, I should say. It was the crowd was not into it early, and they were burnt out from the last match, and some people took that as like, well, they shouldn't have main evented with this. But like, they wanted to put on a match between their top babyface, who is Natsupoi, and a girl they have as a hope for a future top babyface, and they wanted to get you used to Sayaka in that kind of position, just like when they gave her the red belt shot against Saya earlier in the year. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because it's not like the crowd rejected the match or anything. They were just not that super into it early on, especially because they were so burned out from the high point of Konami and Sareee. But lower matches are going to steal a show sometimes. That's okay. And again, I like the theme of like starting with Saya, ending with Poi, which is just it's like a thematic thing on the opener, which is probably going to be a match they're going to go back to, probably multiple times. So like that is, I like that little touch of starting with Saya and ending with Poi, and I wouldn't have changed anything, honestly. Poi was very, she's smiling and she's shaking Sayaka's hand at the start. And I'm like, well, don't trust that Sayaka, that little demon. She looks all happy and nice at first, but there's never been a 4'11" woman who can get scarier and get better at bullying people than Poi. And that's what happened the moment the bell rang. She was choking her in the corner and is nearly killing her with a drop kick. Sayaka does come back though. She does a nice dive to the outside. She gets this pretty sick elevated choke where she's just hanging Poi up in the corner on the second rope. And I've talked about this before. I kind of just like that she just chokes people out. Just kind of such a dichotomy to her, cutesy appearance. But yeah, she's got the sleep choker on back in the ring. Poi is doing this great job selling that she's going to go out, but she does finally make the ropes. Sayaka hits this enormous Tokimeki spear that Poi takes this great flying bump for. Poi does kick out. Sayaka then hits 3 straight violent shootings, followed by the Tokimeki screwdriver. Obviously playing off of Tam Nakano there and being a Tam protege. But Sayaka does kick out, and she does eventually puts her Kohai away, as it were, in 11:56. So yeah, very good, 3 3/4. Definitely a match I'd still recommend watching, even though it wasn't quite on the level of the other 3 I mentioned, but definitely the 4th best match on the show at least, which is not bad on a 16-match show. So yeah, overall, for all the consternation I saw about the format and about all these wrestlers in the blocks and doing a 16-match opening show, I thought the show was great. I mean, the show still sped by. It still had 4 great matches at the end. The undercard stuff, it was in and out, and none of it ever had a chance to drag or be oh, the show feels endless. The show did not feel endless at all. Watching it live, it was you couldn't believe how fast it was going, really, because they kept the undercard matches so short. So, yeah, that's it, folks. So I'll be back with you on this episode. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm ending an episode. So yeah, I'll be back with you in just a second with the next Stardom 5-star review from Wednesday's show. So hold on for that in a sec. All right, folks, we're back here for night 2 of the 5-star Grand Prix, and I shouldn't introduce a new episode because you guys just heard me talk. It's just a seamless transition for you guys, but for me, it's a whole other day here. As I'm recording this on Wednesday after watching the second day of the 5-star Grand Prix. So Stardom, they did the always interesting transition from the big show at Ota Ward Gym with the lights and the stage and everything to lights on in the middle of a gymnasium. In this case, in Morioka in Iwate Prefecture. That's pretty fucking far. I was looking up where that is. It's not anywhere I've ever been because, it's basically you're going northeast towards Hokkaido. This is one of the last prefectures you hit before you, it's pretty much this, Iwate Prefecture, and then Aomori is the only other one before you get to Hokkaido, basically. So, Akita is also, I guess, it runs sort of concurrently with Iwate, maybe a little bit more north, too. But yeah, it's really this, then Aomori, and then at that point you get to Hokkaido. So, yeah, this is as far as they go, though, because they went all the way up here to Iwate, and they basically turn around and go back after this. They go to Koriyama next, which is in Fukushima Prefecture. So that's back, heading back toward west and south towards Tokyo. Then they go to Sendai, and then, again, which is more further west. And then they go to Tochigi for the doubleheader on Sunday, which is even closer to Tokyo. And then finally they go back to Tokyo for the Korakuen show next Wednesday before they head back out. They head out west at that point and start the Kansai portion of it, where they go to Kyoto, they go to Okayama, which is in Kansai but is out over there, and they go to Kobe in 3 straight days. So anyway, this show did a crowd of 446 or 448 I should say, which tsunami warning, apparently very bad heat, and you can see how people were fanning themselves in the crowd throughout. Not too bad. I looked up what they did in this building last time. Apparently the last time they ran it was all the way back in June 2022. It wasn't a 5-star show. It was a lead up to the 5-star show. It had a qualifier. But yeah, that show did 446. So yeah, basically the exact same crowd they did here. So, But yeah, some extenuating circumstances though between all the tsunami warning stuff and the heat. So the show opened. This was a red block show, by the way. So all these shows going forward I believe, all the way until the last 2 nights in Yokohama and Shizuoka, or Hamamatsu, I should say, in Shizuoka Prefecture, which are, again, like mixed block shows. Every other show is basically all red and all blue, so red A and blue B. There's like one weird show, I think, that has like a single match from the opposite along with the red A and red B. I know Korakuen has a mix. Korakuen has a mix of red A, red B, blue A, and blue B also. So there you go. But yeah, so most of these remaining shows, though, besides Korakuen and the last 2, are either red or blue. So this one was red. And we opened again. They have a strategy, it seems like, of trying to open with Saya Kamitani, because she opened the show for the second straight show. And maybe part of that strategy is that they know they're doing these YouTube shows where they put like a few free matches on for YouTube, and they want to let her maybe draw some people in on YouTube or on Stardom World subscribers with their biggest star right now, when they know they have a lot of other big singles matches to come on the show anyway. So yeah, it's a pretty decent strategy, I think. So Saya Kamitani here in red block A, she defeated Yuna Mizumori in 8:42 with the Star Crusher. That moved Saya to 2-0. Gave her 4 points and dropped Yuna to 0-2, so she's still looking for her first points. We got a little bit of high-speed Saya to start the match. She and Yuna were just going very fast. Yuna's been like teasing that she wants to be in the high-speed division lately, so they did some of that early. Then Saya just like slid out of the ring and let Yuna chase her around for a while before cutting her off and hitting this nice little dive off the apron. Yuna fought back by hitting a single lariat on the floor, and then she set up a chair in the ring. I was like, what is she doing with this chair? She took it in the ring, she set it up in the middle of the ring, and put on her wacky pineapple sunglasses and took a seat. It's like, girl, you're facing the World of Stardom champion. Like, you might want to take this a little more seriously. But yeah, she was being a little bit wacky there. They went back and forth for a bit before Yuna hit this. She hit like basically 3 straight sliding lariats. They all look pretty good. That was a pretty nice little sequence. That got her a 2 count. A little later, Saya almost took Yuna's head off with this running boot, but Yuna answered right back with his lariat that almost folded Saya in half. She took a great bump for it. But then she ran right into a spinning kick to the face from Saya. Yuna, though, she kind of no-sold it, and then she did this Superman pin, and that got a very close near fall, and this match at this point was really rocking. But just when it was really getting going, Saya did put Yuna away with the Star Crusher to get the win. So, yeah, the match got really, really great at the end, and it was fun even before that. So even being a bit short, I went 3 3/4 on this. I really enjoyed this. This was probably the second best match of the night for me. So very good match here. Very good opener. The second match, Mai Sierra defeats Lady C in 7:27. That got her... I can never tell if I can trust these auto-translated move names. But let's say it says Ryu Seiyu. I don't know. But anyway, it's that wacky submission to the Dragon Sleeper with the cross-legged thing. But yeah, she was like, so that put May at 2-0, I should say, 4 points. Lady C, again, also still looking for her first points. And this was, again, Red A. So May was all over our poor lady to start. She threw like 10 straight drop kicks at her in the corner. What's kind of crazy to me about Lady C and what I kind of enjoy about her is this woman is, I don't think she's a shoot 5'9", but that's what they bill her as. I think she's probably like a shoot 5'8". But either way, she has a substantial height advantage, no matter what she's 5'8" or 5'9", on Mai Sierra. And she somehow still managed to have this like underdog energy to her where you feel like she is, the underdog in the match and you want to root for her, which I'm like, for her to be that much taller than May and for you to still feel like, oh no, is poor Lady C going to be able to fight back? It's kind of you could say, oh, well, she's not using her size well, but I don't know, it almost feels like an achievement on her part that she manages to be like this, she manages to have this underdog energy and this like, almost like this puppy energy to her where you're like, you want to see the puppy do well or something like maybe that's not the right term, but like this, she's like very adorable and she's very sort of pathetic sometimes, and you just kind of want to see her do well, even though you kind of know she probably won't win. And for her to be able to embody that energy, again, despite towering over most of this roster, including May, who's one of the tiniest wrestlers on the roster, is kind of impressive in its own weird way. So, I'm going to frame that as a success on her part, because a lot of people I think would, more make that something she's doing wrong as a very tall person, but it's like, I don't know. She didn't choose to be tall, right? And maybe she just, that's just her personality coming out, and she does better as the underdog. Lady does finally catch May and does use her height to her advantage when she, giant swings her, which I always love when she catches them in midair and does the giant swing. She does find ways to work her height in the match still, while also being the underdog. But she catches May trying to come off the second rope and, like, grabs her around the throat and hits this huge choke slam. So, like, May was standing on the second rope, and then she just, like, choke slams her down. May took the sick bump for it, too, so that looked really cool. But, yeah, May did eventually get her in the Wacky Dragon Sleeper. This is a great little sprint. I went 3.5 on this. Good match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, that's May beating Lady C. Match number 3, Starlight Kid defeats Rion in 9 minutes and 20 seconds with the Black Tiger Leg Killer. So that was Starlight Kid's first win, so she's now 1-1 at this point with 2 points, while Rion is still looking for her first win, as you'd expect, 0-2. Again, speaking to people playing against their height archetype, Starlight Kid is just a great bully here. I mean, she is the tiniest bully in the world, but it somehow works because she rules. And, like, Rion also is pretty tiny, too. She's, famously called a twerp in the Voices of Wrestling Stardom Discord room. But yeah, Kid is, like, working over her leg, and she's just, like, bullying her in general, and it's good stuff here. Rion comes back with this nice little Rana off the middle rope, and again, didn't feel, like, horrible or anything, because, Starlight Kid didn't work on her leg for that long at that point. And then she also hits a seated drop kick for a 2 count. A bit later, she got this cool, like, it's just like a backwards falling cradle is the only way I can really describe it. That got a really close 2 count. Starlight Kid came back with her little spinning splash off the top for a 2 count, and then she gets the Black Tiger Leg Killer in, and that gets the win. I thought this was pretty good, not quite up to the level of the first 2, but still a pretty good little match here. 3.25 for Starlight Kid defeating Rion. Then we got the worst match of the night, unfortunately, which was B. Priestley defeating Azusa Inaba in 10:26 with the Plan B. That moved B up to 2-0 for 4 points and dropped Inaba to 1-1. Yeah, I don't know. I was really fucking bored by this. I mean, look, all the other matches we just went over were quicker, obviously. This was the longest match at this point. But they were also just far more fast-paced. So what this reminded me of, because you have, the house style in Stardom is very fast, and especially when they're all doing these quick, almost high-speed matches, it's very fast. And B reminded me of when these foreigners, or even these Japanese outsiders, would pop into peak Dragon Gate in the 2000s, like the mid-2000s, and you could tell, and the pace in a normal Dragon Gate match at that time, as it still pretty much is now, but especially then, the pace and the level they were working was so high, and these people were so used to working with each other on top of that, that these outsiders would come in and they just couldn't keep up. And that totally gave me the same feeling here. Like, it just felt like B could not keep up with the house style. And she didn't look that bad on night 1. It was mostly just the fucking, show pie and the same 3 Japanese phrases over and over again like I went over. She did do less of that here, so that's good. But yeah, I just thought, like, for a match that got 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes almost, I had, like, no notes here because they were just so boring. Like, they just didn't do anything interesting with this time at all. Yeah, a nothing match before B put her away with her little pump handle bomb thing. 2 stars. I thought this was bad. Like, this was the first bad match of the tournament so far, in my opinion. Like, 2 stars is a bad match. And that's, like, the best I can give a bad match, basically, is 2 stars, so... but we got back on track quick, thankfully. So Izumi defeated Tomoko Inaba in the next match in 12:32. She beat her with the diving double foot stomp, followed by the Izumi Sushi. So this started out with Izumi and Tomoka going really fast, as you probably expect. Again, even more refreshing after the Boar Fest we just sat through. Tomoka hit this super gross soccer kick to Izumi's back when she was seated on the mat. That was just one of those really, really gross-sounding, loud kicks you only seem to get in Japanese wrestling. I'm adjusting my mic a little. Hopefully it doesn't make any loud noises. I'm sorry when that happens. Things did go... They slowed down a bit when Tomoka worked over Azumi's arm on the mat. So she worked on her arm for a bit, but the arm work wasn't bad or anything. And then she hit this really great little pop-up spin kick. She sort of threw Azumi up just a little bit and just kicked her in midair. That was awesome. They ended up on the outside. They did this cool little strike exchange out there, which you don't see every day. That left both girls down, and they teased they were going to not beat the 20 count, but they just barely got in at 19. We got another hard pair of kicks from Tomika back in the ring. That got a 2 count. Azumi got the Azumi Sushi for the first time. That got a 2 count just before the 3-minute remaining call. And then she ended up hitting the top rope double stomp, and the second Azumi Sushi got her the pin. So yeah, a nice bounce back match for this show here. A lot of good action. 3.5 stars for this one. Next, we had Hanan defeating Waka Tsukiyama in 1 minute and 12 seconds with the backdrop hold. Yes. So Waka went, I believe, 27 seconds on night 1. It was definitely sub 30. Here she more than doubled her time in the ring this time. This time it took over double the amount of time for Hanan to beat her that it took May Sierra on night 1. I should keep saying the block too. This is red A. I'm sorry about if I'm doing... I should do that. The last match was red B. This is red A. It's a little... I'm so used to these single block nights from the G1, but this is really 2 blocks, technically. Red A and red B. Anyway. Yeah, so this is red A. But yeah, it was they had this really fast-paced, fun start. They're trading all kinds of cradles and suplexes. And then Hanan just hits her with the backdrop suplex and keeps the bridge and just pins her. So, obviously it's over super fast, but I had fun with it while it lasted, so I went 3 stars. I enjoyed this. Gentlewoman's 3. A good 3 stars, because they only went 1 minute and 12 seconds. So, but yeah, maybe next time. Now, I hope they keep the gimmick going, and next time Waka loses in 2.5 minutes, we'll just keep going up, and eventually by the end of the tournament, she'll be doing actual 10-minute matches. Next, we had Red B. It was Rina, somewhat surprising to me, beating Sayagakura in 11-6 with the Pink Devil. So that put Rina at 2-0 for 4 points, and still left Sayaga looking for her first win at 0-2 with 0 points. So we got a big slugfest of forearms to start right off the opening bell. Rina won that. She got one of her nice little judo takedowns after that when Sayaga came at her off the ropes. She followed it up with a couple of her hair tosses. Then she was doing her choking in the corner, and of course spitting in poor Daichi's face. The best part of that, though, was Azusa was on the outside, as she often is for Rina matches, and she condescendingly keeps trying to throw a towel to Daichi to wipe himself off. And the 3rd try of her trying to do this, where Daichi keeps not catching it, because he doesn't really want the towel, he finally catches it and just throws it back at her, God, get the fuck out of here. And Azusa's laughing. That was pretty funny. He is just tormented by these 2 teenagers, this 18-year-old and this 17-year-old. Sayaga tries to fight back, but she quickly gets cut off with a big boot and a basement dropkick for a 2 count. Rina stayed in control for a bit, but then she missed a dive off the second rope, and Sayaga rolled her right into a rear naked choke. She kept it locked in, and so Rina basically tried to stand up with it, and Sayaga was able to keep it locked in and take her right back to the mat. Rina was doing a really good job, I thought, here, selling that she's going out, but she does finally make the ropes at that point. Sayaga hits a hard missile dropkick off the second rope. That gets her a 2 count. She goes for the Tokimeki Spear, but Rina stuffs her, basically drops to one knee and blocks it. Then she counters her right into that funky-looking stretch submission she does. Sayaga's able to make the ropes. Rina goes up top and hits the diving double knee attack. Sayaga just barely kicks out at 2. So Rina takes her back down into her stretch thing. This time she briefly gets hold of her leg too and is trying to pull it back. But Sayaga, just as Rina's getting her leg and pulling on it, Sayaga uses that momentum to get rolled through into a cradle for a very close near fall. That spot was awesome. Probably the best spot of the match, honestly. It was so smooth. The way Rina's pulling back on her leg and Sayaga just takes her momentum with her. And very, very close near fall then. She then finally does hit the big Tokimeki Spear and gets the Falcon Arrow, but that gets an even closer near fall. Rina kicks out again. I thought it was going to be the finish, honestly. Sayaga goes for the sliced bread. Rina pushes her off and hits a drop kick just before the 10-minute call. We get the double knockout tease. They both get back up. Sayaga hits a nice drop kick. Rina counters the spear with a big boot and then hits the Pink Devil, the gory special, and that gets the pin. Another good match here. I went 3.5 stars here. Very enjoyable throughout, even if it never quite made it to the next level for me. The main event, Natsuko Tora defeats Natsupoi in 10:05 with the Swanton Bomb. That put Tora at 2-0 for 4 points, and this is Red B, by the way. Again, I did it. Someday I'll remember to say that before I start playing the match. But yeah, Tora goes to 2-0 for 4 points, and Poi goes to 1-1 for 2 points. So Tora hits a lariat on Poi, very nearly pins her in seconds, with Poi just barely kicking out. I mean, it was a very close near fall. Like, she hits this lariat right at the bell, almost gets the pin right there. She then throws her to the outside. We get the usual tossing of the babyface into the chairs, which Poi does sell better than almost anybody. Poi comes back with a nice dive off the top to the outside on Tora. She hits her big running drop kick to Tora back in the ring, with Tora, of course, leaning against the ropes, followed by a top rope cross body for a 2 count. She tries to German suplex Tora, but Tora literally just falls backward and crushes her. That was just before the 5-minute mark. That looks like it sure sucked for Nuts Poi. Poi tries to get a cross arm breaker. She eventually turns it into a triangle, but Tora just like power bombs her way out of it. And I know that spot has been done a million times by now, but it was a huge power bomb, so that was cool. Tora misses a splash off the middle rope, but Poi basically tries to cradle her off of that, but Tora like flips her right through a sunset flip of her own. It's kind of hard to describe verbally, but it looked really cool. Just like she goes for the cradle right off of the missed Tora splash, but Tora just like blocks it and like turns around to a sunset flip cradle of her own. That looked really great. Poi hits a super kick. Tora no-sells it, hits her with a lariat that folds Poi up in half. Poi hits a spin kick. It may have missed a little bit, but then she finally gets a huge German suplex, which that looked really cool. For her to finally hit the German on Poi is obviously much heavier than her. She goes up top and goes for the spinning fairy splash, but Tora gets her knees up. Tora ducks another spin kick attempt. She does the missed on Poi while Rina takes the ref, then hits a Death Valley driver, followed by the senton bomb off the top, and that gets the pin. This was very good. It was about as much as I can ever remember enjoying a Poi singles match, certainly in recent memory. I said that. A Tora singles match. Did I say Poi? Poi is the greatest. But yeah, I was going to say, enjoying a Tora singles match this much probably has more to do with Natsupoi and the run she's been on lately, in general, and also just being one of my favorite wrestlers than anything else. But 3 3/4. I thought this was match of the night, just barely edging out Saya and Yuna in the opener. And once again, I honestly just noticed this now. They have Saya in the opener and Poi in the main, which I feel like they have to be doing that on purpose. But yeah, nothing glow right here. Nothing hit 4 stars, unlike night 1. But I thought it was an enjoyable show. Everything but one match was good. I mean, I'm going to talk about later with Quinlan actually about the G1 shows. But it's funny that the G1 show on the same night, night 8, I gave almost the exact same ratings. Like I topped out at 3 3/4 for 2 matches. There was a 3.5 and a 3 1/4. And in fact, this show had a much worse match than that show did with the B. Priestley versus Inaba match. But I enjoyed this show a lot more. And, just thinking about it afterwards where I'm like, what? The shows have the same basic ratings, but it's just like the vibes in Stardom are so much higher than the vibes in New Japan right now that, the match quality can be the same, and yet the show still feels like a lot more fun. So, yep, there's your Stardom Night 2 thoughts from the Morioka. So I'll be back in a second with, it'll be 2 days later for me, but for you guys it'll be a second because we're recording this in delayed for 1 episode. But yeah, I'll be back in a second with the Night 3 thoughts from Koriyama on August 1st, the first solo blues show. So hang on for that in a sec. All right, folks, so day 3 of the 5-star Grand Prix here. This show was from the Big Palette Fukushima in Koriyama City, Fukushima Prefecture. A little bit of a disappointing crowd here. The attendance was 384. They did 469 last November for the Goddesses Tag League show. So down a little bit from that, despite being a 5-star Grand Prix show. There was no direct 5-star show to compare it to last year as far as I could tell. But yeah, down about 70 fans or something from the Goddesses Tag League show. So the news before the start of the show was that Ruaka had to miss this event due to illness. Someone started screaming outside. I'm sorry if that's coming over the mic. But yeah, she had to miss the show due to illness. She was scheduled to face Aya Sakura in the Blue A League. So Aya got the 2 points via forfeit, which was her first win, her first 2 points in the 5-star ever, not just in this year. So I would assume Ruaka was supposed to win that, actually, so they'll probably have to change some other plans as a result. That did also result in a tag match being added to the card, which was Aya Sakura and Kikyo Furusawa defeating Akira Kuragane and Emma Maishima. Sakura pinning Emma in 10:40. So I did find it funny. This came like one day after Akira tweeted something about how basically she was going crazy with no matches to wrestle. I'm not saying she poisoned Ruaka to get this match added. I'm not saying it either. Who knows? But yeah, Aya pinned Emma here with a kick to the head. It was, pretty standard opening tag stuff. 2 3/4, really nothing to note here. After the match, though, Aya did wish Akira luck. So Akira, in a couple days, on August 3rd, which would be Sunday, she's going to Sendai Girls, and she's facing Yuna on August 3rd at Sendai Pit. So the winner gets the next shot at Aya's junior title match. I would sort of expect Akira to win that, actually, since, I don't know, it kind of makes no sense for Yuna to win and get her 3rd straight shot at the title this fast, right? I don't know. Maybe they will do that, but I don't know. Aya also then went on to complain about getting her first 2 points from the 5-star via forfeit. I thought it was funny. Ruaka made fun of her for that on Twitter. She was basically like, yeah, you're too nice. You should just be happy to get 2 points for free, basically. That's what I would be, because, I'm an asshole heel, so thought that was kind of funny. Also, it was very cute when she did the little 2 pinkies up pose with Kikyo after the match, so very adorable. Our first tournament match of the night, Blue Stars A, Bozilla defeats Yuria Hime in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. That put Bozilla at 1-0-1. Remember, she had the draw with Ruaka on her first night. Ruaka is now 0-1-1, by the way, and Aya Sakura is now 1-1 from the forfeit, also in Blue A. But yeah, Bozilla now 3 points, Yuria still 0, where she might even just finish the tournament with that, honestly. So yeah, this was kind of what you'd think it would be going in. Yuria tried a couple drop kicks off the opening bell. Bozilla just totally no-sold them. She was beating on her in the corner. Yuria tried some forearms next. Oops, sorry about this Discord thing going off. Yuria tried some forearms next, which also had no effect on her. And then Bozilla just knocks over our poor princess with a single forearm in response. So Yuria just couldn't get any offense on Bozilla at all. She just kept shrugging it all off. And Bozilla then hit a massive pile driver for the pin. Really, really big pile driver. She then gave her a bonus curb stomp at the end, I guess just to be a jerk. And then she slid to the outside and started getting into it with some fan at ringside, physically. She was right up in his face and pushing into him. I was like, what the fuck is going on? He was laughing about it the whole time. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell if he said something actually offensive to her and she was actually mad, or if they knew each other or what. It was very weird. But yeah, complete squash with Bozilla here, as you probably expect. She did a good job of the monster roll, and poor Yuria was a sympathetic seller, so I went 2 3/4. The next match, unfortunately the worst match on the show by far, this was in Blue Block B. Suzu Suzuki defeated Momo Kogo in 6:51 with the tequila shot. There was a fast start, but it slowed down rather quickly. Suzu just took over, and she was no-selling all of Momo's attempts at offense, which is fine, but we just saw that in the last match, so a little repetitive there. Suzu missed her running boot from the outside, the one she does with the big running start. Momo came back with a 619 and a nice little springboard missile drop kick. By far the highlight of the match, probably. That got a 2 count. Momo tried more forearms. Suzu just kept no-selling it and then cracked her with one hard. So Suzu got on the second rope at one point, and Momo cut her off with this. It was supposed to be a 619 to the ankle that knocked her off, but it looked horrible because it had no force behind it at all. It looked like she barely touched her ankle, and Suzu had to take this giant leap off the second rope instead of getting knocked off by it. But I have every single device of mine is just making notification noises right now. But yeah, what I was trying to say was I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say now. But yeah, it's it was very, very, very weird. just how little force that 619 had. I totally lost track of my train of thought. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was totally weird how little impact that 619 had, and it just made the entire spot look really fake, that Suzu had to take this big leap when she should have been getting knocked off by Momo. So yeah, Momo needed to do that move a lot harder there. She had a super kick on Suzu. Suzu no-sold it and hit a big release German, and she put her away the tequila shot soon after. Yeah, I thought this was quite bad. There was nothing going on here with Momo's offense, all looking really light for the most part. Suzu just put her away pretty easily, but it went almost 7 minutes, so I don't know. It was like a extended squash, basically, and very boring. The most exciting part was when they slapped each other in the face pretty hard for the match, and I was like, why did you do that during the match? Why did you wait until after the match to do that? So, very strange stuff here. 2 stars. Bad match. Blue B was next. Sareee defeating Rana Yagami in 10:36 with the diving double foot stomp. That puts Sareee at 1-1 for 2 points, and Rana still 0-2 with 0 points. So Rana went right after Sareee off the opening bell. Sareee quickly ended up on top when they fell to the floor, and she slammed her pretty hard out there. They get back to the ring. Rana fires up with some super hard kicks, but Sareee puts her right back down with this really stiff basement drop kick. She was pulling on Rana's hair on the mat, and even a few fans in this otherwise quite dead crowd throughout the rest of the night were booing her. And then she started biting Rana's forearm to get even louder boos. So, she's really kind of leaning into these reactions now, even though she also still tries to get the claps going for some reason. But yeah, the biting, I assume, was her leaning into it. Rana was pretty fired up here. She was giving it to Sareee almost as good as she was getting it with the forearms. But that just made Sareee cave her chest in even more. And she ends up putting Rana away with the diving double foot stomp. Good match. Rana showed plenty of fire here, so 3.5. Up next, a little bit of a disappointment for me. I thought this would be a little better. Saori Anou defeats Miyu Amasaki in 10:03 with the potato ring. It was part of the reason why I was really looking forward to this is Miyu almost reminds me of a younger, slightly goofier Saori, and Saori's kind of played off that, calling her a gal, a girlu. I always forget gal how they actually pronounce it, but I just, it's more fun to just say gal. That's what they basically mean. But yeah, then Saori, for people who have never seen that picture, she was very much a gal herself back in the day. So, but yeah, they both have this cool, elegant vibe to them, but I don't think it really ever super clicked in the match. It wasn't it was bad; it was still pretty good. But Miyu, she's never as good as I want her to be when the bell rings. Her offense is a little too awkward. They do have a big slugfest to start. Saori takes over by pulling on her ponytail, which I love when all the Cosmic Angel members just start cheating. It's one of my favorite things. She hits a hard running big boot with Miyu against the middle rope. They keep trading these hard forearms to the chest. I like how Saori just kind of turns to the camera at one point and is like, "Oh, this bitch really wants it, huh?" That's the kind of look she gave the camera. Okay, I'm gonna give it to her. They trade DDT from Miyu, of course, and then a fisherman suplex from Saori. Saori eventually puts her down with a nice missile dropkick. Miyu comes right back with another DDT. That leaves both girls down. Saori hits a Northern Lights suplex and then holds onto her wrist straight into a stranglehold on the mat. A great mat transition from her, as she almost always does in these matches. She just kind of lets go of it, though. Picks her up and goes for a German suplex. Miyu escapes it and gets her delayed DDT, followed by her own fisherman suplex for a close near fall, and then gets a hammerlock DDT for a 2 count. Miyu very nearly wins it with her wacky cradle thing. I really like the look of it. I can never remember what it's called, though. Only for Saori to then get the win with the potato ring instead, her own wacky cradle. I wish that had looked a little cleaner, though. They kind of had to struggle to get Miyu's shoulders down, but pretty good match. Just never hit any kind of next level for me, so 3.25 here. Afterwards, Saori basically just tells Miyu that, if you're serious about being the future of the company, you'll have to make me take you a little more seriously. I think that was the general gist of it. She also did reference their little Kyoto versus Shiga rivalry they have going. People don't know Shiga Prefecture, where Saori is from, basically borders Kyoto. So it's like, they sometimes even call it like part of Greater Kyoto. So it's a little like the suburbs versus the big city, I guess. They trade a couple more blows in front of the curtain, too, for good measure. So, I like their little mini feud they have going, but the match itself was just, pretty good, but not great. Semi-main event, Blue B block, easy for me to say. Momo Watanabe defeats Konami in 10:28 in the Battle of Hate with the Peach Sunrise. So Momo goes to 2-0, 4 points, and Konami's now 1-1. They go right to brawling on the outside. Konami throws Momo into the chairs, chokes her with the metal base of one. Momo gives it right back to her a little later, like sends her into the chairs herself, and then hits her with some fan's umbrella. This is where I got inspired to check, like, is there a Japanese proverb that, like, equates to there's no honor among thieves? From what I found, I guess the best fit is Akunin ni mikata nashi, which means, like, the wicked have no allies. So, at least according to what I looked up, so. These two evil kick gals, they traded lots of hard middle kicks. They did kind of what you would expect from the two of them here. And Momo ends up getting the pin, like I said, with the Peach Sunrise, the Half Nelson suplex. Good match, not great again, which was kind of the theme of the show to this point. 3.5 for this. Second best match on the show, I'd say, but behind the main event, which was very good, thankfully. We did get a very good main. So, main event, Amy Sohrei defeats Saya Ida in exactly 12 minutes, apparently, with the Like Thunder, which is the Thunder Fire driver. Is that what it's called, Thunder Fire? I don't know. Fire Thunder driver, I think it's called. Sorry. But yeah, Ami has to lean down. So they do this lockup at the start, right? They do, because they're both, muscular gals. They're both two of the stronger women on the roster. And they lock up at the start. And they're doing, like, they're pushing back and forth on each other trying to get control. But because Ami has such a height advantage on Saya, I was like, Ami's leaning down so far, I'm worried this girl's going to throw her back out. Like, to do that lockup with Ami at, like, 5'7" and Saya Ida, like, I don't know, 4'9", whatever the fuck she is. It's like, Ami was leaning way down. I'm like, just don't throw your back out, girl. They end up on the floor. They exchange some hard chops, both of them doing it. Ami puts Saya down with a shoulder block and then gets her up in the Argentine backbreaker just before the 5-minute call. She ultimately drops her down so she can chop her some more in the corner. And boy, does she chop her. Leaves her chest all red. Saya has, like, this real... I want to imagine Saya had this real, like, that's what I do to people, I belong in here, like, type moment. Which is kind of what Starlight Kid's been going through, too, with everybody targeting her leg back lately. Saya fights back for a bit. Ami cuts her off on the top rope. Tries for a superplex, but Saya chops her down on the mat. She tries a top rope shoulder block, but Ami simply moves out of the way and then hits a lariat straight into a pin attempt for a 2 count. The way she just walked away was almost Samoa Joe-esque to avoid that top rope shoulder block. They fight over a suplex. Saya eventually does get it, and that leaves both girls down. They get back up. Saya keeps chopping away on Ami against the ropes, but then runs right into a black hole slam for a 2 count. Ami then hits why am I getting these move names mixed up? The Blue Thunder Bomb, right? That's what it's called? I think so. Because she does Fire Thunder and Blue Thunder Bomb. It's confusing. But yeah, Saya she hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, but Saya, like, rolls right through the cradle and turns it into her own pin attempt. And then they each nearly pin each other with another flash cradle. Saya hits a big lariat on Ami, but she no-sells it. And Ami then hits a huge Blue Thunder Bomb for a very close 2 count, a second Blue Thunder Bomb. She then gets the Fire Thunder Driver, and that finally gets the pin. So Ami now is 2-0, just like Saya. Not Saya. Just like Saya's still 0-2. So, but I was gonna say just like Saori Anou, and it looks, I believe they face each other next. Let me just confirm with some always lovely clicking on the air here. I'm pretty sure they do face each other next, but yeah. No, this is the red show. Where the fuck's the next blue show, guys? Okay. This is red. Wouldn't this be blue? Is blue next? Or did they reverse it for the day-night thing? Interesting. Oh no, I just clicked. The night's just listed above the day. What the fuck, guys? Okay, anyway, so the next Blue show, the Sunday day show, yes, it is indeed Ami versus Saori. So the two 2-0s are going to face off. It's also a match they teased at Corrigan. So, yeah, very good match here. 3 3/4, easily match of the night. This is definitely the weakest show of the 3 so far. It didn't help. So it was already scheduled to have only 7 tournament matches instead of 8. And then they lost one because the 7, by the way, is because Hina has school. She can't do weekday shows. So, so yeah, Hina and Hanako. Hanako did not also wrestle on this show. So yeah, but yeah, it's not like the show was bad or anything, but it was the weakest of the 3 so far. All right, so that's it for this show, and in a sec we'll be back with day 4. All right, folks, we're back here again. Once again recording after another 5-star Grand Prix show. If I sound a little more quiet than usual, it's because it's 3 a.m. and I'm also at my dad's house at the moment. So, like I said, having to do a little weird format this week to get all these shows in with everything going on. But, I didn't want to abandon the G1 and the 5-star, and the next few weeks were going to be weird for me. So this is kind of what we end up doing. But yeah, so we're on show number 4 here from the Sendai Pit. In Sendai, which I watched live, that took place at midnight Eastern Time on August 2nd. And this was the best show so far as in the 5-star. The mic is wobbling a little bit on this bed. I hope it's not making random noises. I apologize if it is. But yeah, we'll go through these 8 matches. This was by far the best show that we've seen so far. I mean, this was just start to finish, basically, banger after banger. Everyone looked like they were really fired up in Sendai. It looked like everybody was having a good time. We don't have an attendance on the Stardom website yet, so I can't tell you anything about the attendance, but the crowd that was there, however many they were really into everything, which always helps. And yeah, all the girls went out there and just worked really, really hard. A lot of really fast-paced, really great matches, and let's get right into it here. It opened up, and this was a Red Star show, obviously. And, the Red B, I think almost everybody would have said was a very stacked block. And it really lived up to it on this show. But Red A, if anything, is over-delivering so far as well, as we'll go into. So the opener was Sayaka Kurova defeating Rion in 8 minutes and 5 seconds with the Tokimeki Falcon Arrow. Both wrestlers were 0-2 entering here, so Sayaka was the one to get her first win and her first ever 5-star points, so she goes to 1-2. This was a pretty fun little match, good opener. Both of them almost got the pin off some roll-ups early on. Sayaka ended up pretty much spearing Rion out of her boots to get a 2 count with the Tokimeki spear before she put her away soon after with the Falcon Arrow. So, again, I didn't write a lot of notes for this match, apparently, but it was enjoyable. I went 3 1/4. Pretty good little opener here. The second match in Red Stars A, B. Priestley defeating Waka Tsukiyama in 4 minutes and 53 seconds. B was 2-0 here, so she stays undefeated, goes 3-0, and Waka drops down to 0-3. The big thing with Waka is, was she going to get past a minute? Because she went 28 seconds in her first match, and then I believe a minute and 20 seconds in her second match, and this time she did get almost 5 minutes in. So, Waka, she was really fired up. She was just screaming her head off for every cradle attempt. Right from the opening bell. It was really kind of funny, actually. I was watching this entire show with my brother, actually, who lives here with my dad, and he's not a Stardom viewer or anything. He just watches a few shows here or there when I'm he's seen shows when I'm here putting it on, and he was very amused by Waka screaming. So Waka yelling got over with the quote unquote casual fan, which I thought was funny. But yeah, B ended up pinning her off of kind of a cradle reversal just after a suplex. But yeah, it was okay. It was 2 3/4. Probably my favorite B match so far, and obviously, I guess the best Waka match so far, since she's I might have given the 1 minute match 3 stars. I don't know. But yeah, this was pretty fun. Enjoyed this. 2 3/4. Not like I loved her or anything. But things did pick up in the next match. This match was fucking awesome. Natsupoi defeating Tomoka Inaba in 9 minutes and 12 seconds with the Fairy Magic. Both were 1-1 going into this, so Poi goes to 2-1 with 4 points. This started off just as fast as you would expect. Poi She missed the rope hanging dropkick. Wow, easy for me to say. And Inaba just like kicked the bottom rope into her stomach and then just nailed her with this big boot against the ropes instead. And this match was so fucking stiff. They were just kicking the shit out of each other. Poi did eventually get the running dropkick and just killed her with the dropkick, just like she almost always does. Tomoka, though, was just targeting Poi's leg and just kicking the shit out of it. Poi tried to come back with forearms to the chest. Inaba cut her off with like this funky slap to like right to her side, and then just kicked her really hard again. She eventually got this ankle lock on Poi after getting out of a German attempt. Poi rolled right out of it and finally did get the release German she had been looking for a few times. Inaba no-sold it, but then ran right into a super kick, and that left both girls down. Later on, Inaba got this really cool delayed leg kick. So Poi basically went to block high, so Inaba just like kicked her really hard in the leg instead, and then finally got the high kick she wanted. That got a very close 2 count, and at this point Inaba had just been dominating for the entire match with the really stiff kicks, but Poi just kind of pulled the fairy magic out of nowhere, and that got the pin. And it was much more like she survived Tomoka Inaba here than anything else. I mean, she looked pretty beat up even in the backstage promo I saw on when they posted to Twitter. So, yeah, this was like, Tomoka has really been showing out on these shows so far. I mean, she's had really great matches, and this was another one. This was really, really hard-hitting, really fast-paced, about as awesome as a 9-minute match as you could have. So I went 4 stars on this. I thought this was awesome. 2 wrestlers who have been having a really great tournament so far, and they both delivered here in another one. Red Block A, Saya Kamitani defeated Azusa Inaba in 8 minutes and 1 second with the Star Crusher. Another really good match. Obviously all these hate versus hate matches have been a lot of fun, and they haven't done any I keep comparing it to like the Bullet Club back in when they both were in the G1, and both wrestlers would be kind of trying to like out cheat the other. Instead it was like, we're both assholes, we're gonna do asshole things to each other. In this case it was Azusa like poking Saya in the eyes and trying to roll her up just when Saya had been beating her up and basically telling her to bring it, which that was cool. But yeah, there's no hesitation to beat each other up. They just went right at each other. Saya absolutely decapitated Azusa with a running boot at one point. That looks really nasty. Azusa hit a moonsault that ended up being more like an accidental moonsault kick, which was one of those, botches that was technically a botch, but if anything, made it look even nastier. And then she went for the Anegoe, but instead of that, though, she just ran to another really nasty Saya big boot, and then Saya put her away with the Star Crusher. Again, another banger of a match, another really quick but really great match. I went 3 3/4 on this, so the show was really rolling at this point, and that made Saya a perfect 3-0, while Azusa was down to 1-2 at that point. Red Stars A in the next match, Lady C defeated Yuna Mizumori in 6:56. Again, pretty much the same theme. A super fast-paced match. Both girls were just throwing bombs right off the bat. We got a choke slam out of Lady C before we even hit the 5-minute mark. And Lady C won with what they're calling a reverse Oklahoma Stampede. Just kind of like a gut wrench into a slam, basically. But yeah, Lady C, she's impressed me in this tournament. I've thought she's been good throughout. And Yuna, Yuna's very underrated in general and just has had a good tournament as well. So 3.5, another fast-paced banger of a match, and this show just was not missing. And it never really would miss. So especially when we get to the next match, which was the first of the 2 15-minute time limit draws. This was in Red Stars A. So Hanan and May Sierra went to a 15-minute draw. So May was at 2-0, so she's now 2-0-1 for 5 points. Hanan at 1-1 is now 1-1-1, so she now has 3 points. This match, again, I didn't write a ton of notes because I was really just vibing with this match so much that I really forgot to take any kind of detailed notes. But again, super fast pace. They really... the other 15-minute draw, which we're going to get to, Starlight Kid and Azumi, they also went at a super fast pace for the entire 15 minutes, but maybe even slowed a little bit here or there when you got a little bit of the legwork from Starlight Kid. These two pretty much never stopped. The entire 15 minutes, it was just boom, 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 boom. They pretty much just went throughout the entire 15. May was trying to tap Hanan out with her wacky stretch as we were down to like less than 2 minutes remaining. Hanan was doing this awesome job selling that she was going out. Like the camera zoomed right in on her. You could see her basically selling that she, was going unconscious. And just when you thought she was going out, she made the ropes to get the break. They just traded more flash pin attempts, and May nearly got the sunset flip pin before we finally got the bell for the 15-minute draw. So yeah, this was awesome too. This was another 4-star match. Pretty much like, it kind of a broken record on this show, but everything on this show was just like, fast-paced banger after fast-paced banger. Even the next match, which was Rina defeating Natsuko Tora in 9:58, and that moved Rina up to our surprising Red Stars B leader at 3-0 for 6 points. It gave Tora her first loss. She was also undefeated entering this, so she's now 2-1. So Rina attacked Tora during her intro. She threw her into the chairs at ringside. She was choking her with her whip. God, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. She was choking her with her whip while Azusa was up on the apron distracting Daichi, which I thought was kind of funny. It's like Azusa's such a bestie to Rina that she's even willing to help her against another hate member. Tora, though, got her back. She was tossing her into some chairs herself and then was like throwing the chairs on her. And then she slammed her pretty hard on the ramp, I should say. Rina was trying for the judo throw back in the ring, but she just could not get Tora over. They started forming each other in the chest very hard. A little while after that, though, Rina did finally get the judo throw. That got her a near fall just before the 5-minute call. Rina hit the diving double knees a little later off the top. That got a 2 count. Tora, though, kind of took over from there. She was, just crushing her. She hit the cannonball in the corner, and then she hit the top rope splash, but she pulled Rina up at the 2 count, apparently wanting to give her a little bit more punishment, and that ended up being her big mistake because Rina just rolled her right up out of that for the pin. This was good. This was 3.5, and again, Tora, she's doing either her best work in forever or just her best work of her career right now. I mean, she's not someone I normally enjoy, but like she's not really trying to do like the Matsumoto cosplay stuff as much. She's really like leaning into the very fast pace everybody in the roster is working at right now, and she was able to keep up here. I mean, she and Rina were just like working the same kind of pace everybody else on this show worked. But yeah, this was a good match. 3.5 stars, and again, just this show did not miss. The main event, and what I thought was the match of the night, although there was a lot of competition, the Red Stars B, another 15-minute draw, Starlight Kid and Azumi. Interestingly, it was interesting they went to the draw here. I thought Azumi was going to get a win back from All-Star Grand Queendom, so I wonder if these two might even meet again in the playoffs or something. But yeah, here we got the 15-minute draw. Azumi did not get the win back, in fact. Starlight Kid offered her the handshake before the match, and Azumi was like, "I'm not shaking your hand." I thought that was cool. It's like, we're enemies again tonight. Kid almost pinned her right off the bat. So Azumi went for the Azumi Sushi, and Kid got the cutback off that, and that got a really, really close near fall. Kid worked on Azumi's leg a little bit. She was snapping along the middle rope repeatedly, which just looked nasty. Azumi did shrug it off, and I'm sure some people are going to complain that she didn't sell the leg enough because she was running really quickly after that. I don't really have a problem with that in this case, because in this case, it was like 90 seconds of leg work total. So I don't really think it would have made sense for Azumi to sell it like it was debilitating. She was, shaking it here or there later on when Starlight Kid did some more work to it. But, she never really got a chance to work the leg that much. And I didn't really, I've seen some people say, Azumi should sell more and that's her big flaw. And if the match was longer and Starlight Kid had worked over the leg for a long time, or if, to give a random example, if Azumi had a shoot leg injury that was supposedly re-aggravated by being hit with a push-up bar on the prior night, then Azumi's lack of leg selling at certain points would have annoyed me more. But like in a regular match, it's like you need to be working on someone's leg for a while before it's a problem to me how little you're selling it. Like, I'm thinking of the infamous Okada-Minoru Suzuki match where Suzuki had worked on Okada's leg for like fucking 20 minutes and Okada was just like doing his perfect drop kick at the end. That really pissed me off at the time. This was not that. Again, this was like 90 seconds of leg work and then Azumi running around, which really wasn't that bad. I'm wondering if you guys can hear the very loud cars outside my dad's house. And if you can, I apologize. It's just I've never recorded here before, so I'm honestly not sure. But again, we had to do weird things to make this show work. I just didn't want to, not do an episode when I'm trying to get through these. We're in the middle of the G1 and the 5-star, which I'm enjoying covering here. So yeah, Starlight Kid, she hits a neck-hanging DDT on the apron, then gets the big dive from the top rope to the floor. Azumi went to the really nasty hanging arm stretch on the top rope. That looked really, really cool. And then it kind of left Starlight Kid there for Azumi to hit the suspended double stomp just before the 10-minute call. Then she hit another top rope double stomp. This one went halfway across the ring. It looked like she just crushed her. That looked really nasty. Azumi tried for a Canadian Destroyer. Kid was able to block it, and she took her down back into the Black Tiger Leg Killer, but Azumi blocked it straight into her arm stretch. Starlight Kid escaped that and got her stretch plum before Azumi made the ropes. Just really, really great technical wrestling, and just, counter after counter, and just, again, I made this speech last week, but, there's no one doing this level of technical wrestling right now, it feels like, especially not in American wrestling. So, this is really, really cool stuff to say. Starlight Kid killed her. Oh, no, first he missed the moonsault. Azumi rolled her up with the Azumi Sushi for just about as close to the near fall as you can have. I mean, Daichi's hand was like a centimeter at most from hitting the mat for the 3 count. Starlight Kid then killed her with the running double knees. That was about 2 minutes left at that point. Then she did hit the moonsault in the second try. Azumi kicked out, though. She came back with the Canadian Destroyer out of nowhere. Starlight Kid kicked out. She blocked the double underhook Destroyer, but Azumi reverses the Tiger Leg Killer straight into her arm stretch again as we're at 30 seconds remaining. Starlight Kid then caught her running in, with a Michinoku driver, and they both were just trying to hit one last move. Starlight Kid was going for the Tiger Suplex hold, but she couldn't get it, and we get the time limit draw. So yeah, yet another awesome match on this show. 4 stars. Just, again, this is one of those shows where I don't have much to say because it's everything was great. Everything was awesome. Really, really great show that just flew the fuck by. Best show of the tour by far so far, Night 4 in Sendai. And one of these shows that there's no point in telling you what to watch from it. If you're picking and choosing, this is the show you should just hit play on. It's 2 hours probably, and just watch start to finish because everything on the show was at least good, and a lot of it was really great. So there you go. That's Night 4. So we have 2 shows left on this episode that we're going to get to. The Sunday doubleheader. I believe my buddy Quinlan will be on with me for the second of those 2. I think I'm going to do the first one by myself again after I watch it at midnight tomorrow. And then on Sunday we'll record, you're going to hear that in a second, basically. I don't know why I'm talking like it's another episode. But yeah, we're going to record together on the last Stardom show of the week, and then we're going to do all the G1 shows at once, all of them together, because he did watch all the G1 stuff. But yeah, I'm going to see a Kevin Smith comedy show tomorrow, of all things, and that's part of why this episode format was so weird. I just had no time to do a regular episode with a guest. And no, I don't really care for Kevin Smith. I have nothing against the man, but it's he got these tickets for his birthday and needed somebody to go with. So I've seen one movie of his. I've seen Mallrats a long time ago, so I'm probably not the target audience here, but Quinlan loves Kevin Smith, so we're going to go ahead and see that comedy show here in beautiful Asbury Park, New Jersey tomorrow. And then after that, in just a second, as you guys are listening, I'll be back with you guys to cover the first of the 2 Sunday shows, back to Blue Blocks, and then we'll do the final Sunday show with Red Blocks and then the G1 shows. So yeah, I'll be back with that in just a second. Again, thank you for bearing with me over these next 2 weeks as we do these weird formatted episodes with a lot of solo content from me, but like I said, I didn't want to let you guys down and not do the G1 and 5-star all the way to the end, and this was kind of the weird compromise to make it work. So back in a sec with the next show of the 5-star. All right, folks, back here for the last solo portion of this episode. This was the August 3rd show, the day show. So there's a day and a night show. I just watched the day show live, talking about that with you here on the last little solo portion of this episode, and we'll talk about the night show in the last segment before we get to the G1 preview. I'll have my buddy Quinlan on with me for that one at least, so he and I are going to watch that show after I sleep finally. It's once again 3 in the morning, live from my dad's house in New Jersey. Went to that Kevin Smith thing I talked about on the end of the last recording that this Frankenstein episode is stitched out of. But maybe I'll wait until, Quinlan is here tomorrow to talk about that, if we do talk about that at all, because, I don't know, he'll probably have more to say about it than me. It was his thing. Like I said before, I've only ever seen Mallrats, but I enjoyed it. It was cool. But yeah, so 5-Star Grand Prix, Day 5, the AM show, it started 1 p.m. Japan time, the early show, whatever you want to call it. Actually, one quick note. So I didn't have the attendance from the August 2nd show when I recorded last time. That show was 470 at Sendai Pit, so that was up a lot. Talking about Day 4 here, the August 2nd show, that was up a ton from last year. Last year's was only 304. So yeah, much bigger crowd in Sendai this year than last year. That was up, about almost 170 people. So definitely a big crowd for that. This one, the early show in the home of the Judo sisters over in Utsunomiya. This show did 542 fans for the early show at the Tochigi Light Cube. That's up a little bit from last year. Last year was 508. But if you remember last year's early show, it was pretty full already. So, they only had so much more room to put more people in. This show, it wasn't top to bottom great like the Red Block show was yesterday in Sendai. But the top matches on this show really delivered after the undercard had been a little bit sleepy. So let's go through it here. Opened up with a Blue Stars A match. A quick note, actually, before we get to this match. So Aya Sakura is in this match. Previously, I had said that Aya had gotten a forfeit win. And this is the funny thing about doing this live throughout the week, right? So previously, they had announced that Aya had a forfeit win. And, Ruaka, because she was ill on two shows ago and had to forfeit that match. So now people are going to listen to that part and go, John, what are you talking about? They changed it. But later in the same episode, when I'm recording here, I can tell you that, yes, they changed it. Aya Sakura, that forfeit win was canceled for some reason. They said it was because she requested it. Because remember, she did that promo. She did the promo where she was really mad that she got her first 2 points via forfeit. And since Ruaka was already well enough to wrestle today, they just rescheduled it for the August 10th show. So yeah, that match is going to happen still. So the 2 points that Aya had entering this night were wiped out, and the loss that Ruaka had were wiped out. But Aya got her first 2 points right back, this time in the actual match. So this was the opener of the show. On August 3rd, she beat Yuria Hime in 5 minutes and 41 seconds. So that officially made Aya 1-1 now, since the earlier result was wiped out, and it gave her first 2 points, while Yuria is still at 0-3. So, this was all right. Aya came out very aggressive on her. She was really kicking the crap out of her. That was really the story of the match, was just Aya being super aggressive. And she can be so aggressive that it's always made me kind of wonder if she might turn heel on Sayaka someday. I mean, I had mentioned that way back when we were first teasing. You remember the whole story with Sayaka, obviously, with Saya wanted to recruit Sayaka to hate, and ended up being a whole big part of the story with Saya and Tam, when after Sayaka rejected Saya in this building, actually in Tochigi back in February, that ended up leading directly to the challenge for the original Lose Your Leave Starter match in March. But yeah, so basically Aya was but anyway, during the build to that, I remember thinking, I think I may have even said this out loud in the Discord, I was like, what if they swerved us and Aya was the one who turned heel and joined hate? And I remember getting some pushback from the Stardom regulars in Discord, being like, well, how do you even know that Aya would be good as a heel? What makes you think that? And I actually get that critique of my idea back then, but I feel like throughout this year we've seen her be more aggressive, and her kicks are so violent sometimes, like they were here. It almost makes me wonder if she could pull it off, honestly. And I could see that in her future, where I'm not saying right away, but a year or two from now, she turns on Sayaka on a big heartbreaking turn and goes heel. I could see it. But yeah, she came out very aggressive here. She was really kicking the crap out of her, and she got the win pretty quick with the cherry blossoms in full bloom. Like I said, just 5 minutes and 41 seconds. So fun enough while it lasted, and Aya's aggression was the highlight here. So 2 3/4. A lot of matches in that range in this undercard, as you'll see. But this was the best match of the first 5. Match number 2, Blue Stars B, Hanako defeating Momo Kogo in 8:41. So yeah, this was just Hanako using her size, which she uses really well now. She was dominating early. She wouldn't sell for Komomo's forearms at all, and she caught her coming off the ropes and just slammed her down. It took Momo almost until like the 5-minute call to finally get some offense. He hit a hot shot on Hanako over the ropes, then a springboard missile dropkick, and then she finally did get her flying crossbody that she got caught on earlier. That gave her a 2 count. Komomo then was hitting like some interesting little moves, I thought. She hit this flipping reverse DDT that almost looked like a Destino. And then after that, she hit another like flip into a crucifix bomb for a near fall. So that was some cool little offense from her. But then Hanako cut her off again. She took her head off with a standing lariat. Momo that was able to come back with a Rana. That got her a close near fall. But then Hanako went into this choke. She's apparently calling the Shirasagi, I think. But yeah, that gave her the win. Pretty good. Hanako really looked like the dominant monster here. And Komomo was selling her ass off for her, so that helped too. So yeah, 3 1/4. The highlight of, like I said, it was a pretty sleepy undercard here. But the top 3 on the show would deliver, thankfully. But yeah, that gave Hanako 4 points. She's 2-0. She's only wrestled 2 matches so far. And it dropped Momo Kogo to 0-3. Blue Block A next. Ruaka, who, just like, it was kind of funny. So I had a win taken away from her that they'd given her via forfeit, and then the win came right back. Ruaka had the loss by forfeit taken away from her, and then she took a loss right back. Sai Ida beat her in 5 minutes and 5 seconds with the Ida Bashi. So she came like charging right down the ramp. She went straight at Ruaka before she could even be introduced. So I guess all pissed off because she lost the tag titles to her, obviously, like a week or so ago. Ruaka was then sending Saya into the chairs, like the usual hate stuff. But Saya ended up winning this pretty quick with the Irabashi, which like that wacky like backwards falling cradle thing. Fun enough while it lasted. Another 2 3/4, but like nothing super special here. Blue B next. Rana Yagami defeated Konami in 7 minutes and 9 seconds. A big upset here. That gave Rana her first win, putting her at 1-2. While it also dropped Konami to 1-2. So they're both at 2 points now. But yeah, this was, super fast paced while it lasted. Only about 7 minutes. This was like the first match that really felt like it matched the pace of pretty much the entire Red Block show from Sendai the day before. But I remember everything on that show was super, super fast paced except the B Priestley match, really. But yeah, this was, Rana ended up getting the flash pin on Konami out of nowhere. And Konami was so pissed off that she just kicked Rana's ass afterward. But yeah, this was fine. 3 stars, Gentlewoman's 3. Fast paced, but didn't really have a lot of time to make an impression. Then we had Blue Stars A. Bozilla stays undefeated. She goes to 2-0-1. So she beats Miyu Amasaki in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. So Bozilla has 5 points now. Miyu is still at 2 points, 1-2. Miyu again also jumped Bozilla at the bell. Before the bell, actually, but then she gets caught jumping off the apron right into the big monster's arms, and then Bozilla just like starts sending her to chairs at ringside. I remember thinking, like, do we really need another person on this roster sending people into chairs at ringside when like all of Hate does that on a regular basis? I don't know if she really needs to do that. We get enough of that already. The funniest part though was when she was sitting on the apron and just making fun of the ref in his count. She was like joining the ref in his counting, but in like a mocking way. I mean, she has a surprising amount of charisma, Bozilla. Helps her stand out even just beyond her height, obviously, and her size. They did kind of mess up a big Miyu hanging DDT back in the ring. They didn't like blow it totally, but the impact was not what you would want from a move like that. They did a second one after. It wasn't quite like repeating the spot. Just, Miyu does a lot of DDTs. And that one looked much better, so that was good. Miyu really did not look like she enjoyed Bozilla's standing senton. She really looked like she got crushed. And, like, the camera zoomed in on her, and she was like, why did I choose this as a career? Like, she had that kind of look on her face. Bozilla got this, like, kind of sloppy slam when she caught Miyu running in. But then she destroyed her with this lariat that folded her up in half. And then finished her off with a Styles Clash soon after. I enjoyed this while it lasted. I went 3 stars on this. I mean, there was a little bit of sloppiness, but it was the kind of understandable sloppiness. When you have a woman who's like 2 or 3 times the other one's size. And if it hadn't been sloppy, I would have gone like 3 1/4 probably. Like, this was really enjoyable for the 5.5 minutes. So, Miyu, I've seen people critique her for a lack of fire at times, and I thought she looked pretty fired up here, so that was good to see. Then we had Blue B, and this is where the show fucking goes into overdrive. The top 3 matches here were all awesome. Starts out with Momo Watanabe defeating Suzu Suzuki in 13-12 at the Peach Sunrise. True to my point about the last match and Bozilla not needing to be another person throwing people in chairs, Momo was doing more Irish whips into chairs here. Back in the ring, we got a super hard soccer ball kick to the back from Momo on Suzu. But Suzu fires right back a little bit after that with her own hard running knee in the corner. And then they got to the apron where Suzu hits, I thought this was a pile driver. I saw somebody else describe it as a power bomb. She, normally when you see an apron pile driver, the wrestlers are facing, horizontally, right? Like, they're not facing the crowd that's in front of that side of the ring. They're facing, horizontally. I don't know how to describe it. Here, they moved so they're facing the crowd that's on that side of the ring, which I don't know the last time I've ever seen that. And she gives her this huge either pile driver or low angle power bomb, however you want to describe it, and it fucking kills Momo with it. She looked like she ate shit on that ridiculous bump. Momo tried to use her bat when the ref got distracted by Konami, but Suzu got it and used it on her instead. But then Momo did end up using on her anyway on the top rope. And then she slammed her all the way down to the mat with almost like a spinning Uranage just before the 10-minute call. She went for the Peach Sunrise for the first time. Suzu escaped it and hit a huge release German. Then I believe she hit the Tequila Shot, which is her finisher, but Momo no-sold it. Maybe it was a different move, but I thought it was a Tequila Shot. And she rolled right into a cradle, and that got a super close 2 count. And then Momo finally hit the Peach Sunrise for the pin with just, I think they just said 2 minutes remaining in the match at that point. So yeah, awesome match, 4 stars. The first match on the show you absolutely have to watch. And yeah, if you're a pick and choose type, the top 3 on this show are what's worth your time. The next match, this is a match I had been anticipating. These are, Saori Anou. I've put her over a million times on the show. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the world at this point. Between her, and that's probably a lot of high praise. But between her selling, between the crazy bump she takes on her neck, the Naito gene she has, how smooth she is on the mat, her transitions, her beautiful suplexes. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. And Ami Sohrei, Ami Sohrei, she's been so good since she came back from her injury. And I've seen people say, people who watched a lot more Stardom prior to this year than I did said she was nowhere near this good before she came back. So, I don't remember. I remember people were talking about a match. I did see this match, her and Saori for the white belt, where Saori got concussed in that match. That match was awesome too. But I guess Ami was not as consistently great as she's been. She's already been really good in this tournament. And yeah, the top end stuff on the blue blocks, Saori and Ami are really helping carry the blue A block right now. And, they went head to head here. And this match, I was super anticipating this match. And it did not fucking disappoint. This went 12-25. Ami won with the Like Thunder, the Fire Thunder driver. Saori came out. I loved her. So she's they do the exchange, right? The start of the match, the kind of your typical little stalemate exchange. And instead of waiting for the crowd to clap, oh yay, stalemate, she just fucking kicks Ami in the gut and takes her down right into the head scissors before she can react. And I love those little moments where all of Cosmic Angels can be like this. They're kind of secret jerks, despite being baby faces, but Saori especially, and Poi, but they both really pull it off, and I love stuff like that. Saori gets caught up in the ropes. She eats some hard chops from the chest from Ami, and that would be a constant thing in this match, which I'm sure she loved, considering she got chopped so hard by Saya Ida in the 5-star opener, another awesome match, that she was complaining on Twitter and saying the bath really stung that night. And it's well, enjoy having your chest turned red again, because Ami chopped the shit out of it here. Saori came back with a running big boot against the ropes. She had been looking for that earlier, but then Ami cut her off climbing the top, and she she gets her on her shoulders on the apron, and Ami is a big strong girl, and she effortlessly switches her from face down to face up on her shoulders, like into the Argentine backbreaker. That looks so cool. That was a very impressive show of strength. And then she just drops her, and Saori always has to take everything as painfully as possible, and just looked like that sucked when she hit the ringside. Like, she really is. I mean, it should not surprise anybody that I love this woman, like, given who my favorite wrestler of all time is. She has that Naito vibe. Like, she and Naito, they always find the peak Naito especially, the sickest way to take any move, and the sickest way to bump, and the sickest way to fall, and, like, she has that exact same vibe, and, like, that's, that is, like, my type of wrestler. We get a brief clubbing forearm exchange back in the ring. First actually went back to the Argentine backbreaker back in the ring. Almost skipped over this. Ami, like, drapes her in the corner and squashes her, but then misses a sliding lariat, eats a basement dropkick, and we got a brief clubbing forearm exchange before Ami started chopping her some more. And Saori, she's on the mat at this point after I'm getting the shit chopped out of her again, and she gives a great sicko smile. Again, very Naito-esque. Like, Naito used to do this shit all the time, where she turns to the camera and is, like, giving the smile, like, you know what, I kind of enjoy this. And it's just such a great, like, sicko smile after getting all those chops. She comes right back up to Ami and gives her this hard slap across the chest, and then an enziguri. Ami, though, cuts her off on the top rope again and superplexes her. Saori tries to come back with a Rana. Ami blocks it in midair and takes her straight down to a half crab. Awesome spot. Great selling by Saori in the half crab. She makes the ropes just before the 10-minute call. We get a huge release German from Saori, followed by a second with a bridge for a 2 count. And then we get a whole series of, so Saori has Ami's arm, and she's, like, holding onto her wrist, I should say. And she's doing, like, these short-range kicks right to Ami's face. They look great. Ami, though, fucking slaps the shit out of her, and then hits a huge lariat that Saori takes, again, a signature neck bump for. A huge bump right on her neck. Saori, though, gets the potato ring. Ami just barely kicks out, catches her running in with the blue thunder bomb, and then finally hits the fire thunder driver for the pin. This rocked so hard. They beat the fucking shit out of each other. 4 1/4. It unseats the Konami and Sareee match from night 1 as my new match of the tournament so far. And yeah, I mean, these are just 2 great pro wrestlers. They had a great pro wrestling match. I mean, I put over Saori so much already, but Ami is just such a great pro wrestler since she came back from this injury. She looks like a wrestler who could burst into the main event scene at any time. And this is why Stardom is in the position it's in, where they lose all this talent, they lose all these main eventers, they just have such a deep bench. And Ami, she comes off like someone who could be a main eventer tomorrow. Like, that's how she comes off. That's how Saori always comes off. I mean, these people look like they are better wrestlers than the wrestlers in the mid-carders in this company. Upper mid-carders are better than the main eventers in most other companies in the world right now. I mean, that's why they're in the position they are, and that's why they're as hot as they are. So, the crowd loves everybody, and they can tell they're seeing something special right now at Stardom this year. And these wrestlers are just so great. These who aren't even, like, the top of the card main eventers right now. Blue Stars B, Sareee defeats Hina, the hometown girl, of course, along with the other 2 twins. Rena came out, like, in the intermission between matches 6 and 7, and she had, like, this little segment with this other local sports hero, I guess. He was, like, an outfielder, leader on the, God, I should get his name on the, I don't know if he listens or not, but I should shout him out correctly. He gave the backstory. His Leader 021 is his name on the Discord. He gave me the whole backstory on this manager who was like an outfielder and a manager for the Tokyo Yakult Swallows, who are like they're the White Sox or the Mets of Tokyo, except even bigger gap, if anything, compared to the Yomiuri Giants in popularity. But yeah, considering, like, if you look up MPB, like, what the most popular team is, apparently, like, half the fans of the entire league are Giants fans or something crazy. But I mean, the Swallows are, like, the other Tokyo team. But yeah, so he's also, like, a local hero. This Tochigi is, like, it's one of those areas that's really in the Utsunomiya, I should say. It's, like, in the shadow of Tokyo, because it's not that far. It's only, like, I think, like, 45 minutes or an hour on the Shinkansen. and it's not really famous at all. So you have these local heroes now. You have this manager of the baseball team who's there, and these sisters who are so fucking over. And obviously we're going to see Rina and Hanan on the night show, the next show we're going to talk about. But here was Hina in the main event of the day show, and yeah, Sareee beat Hina in 13 minutes and 3 seconds with the double foot stomp. The first thing you hear when the sound comes back on from Saree's theme being muted is her being absolutely booed the fuck out of the building. That was so great. It was so fucking funny. It's just like you hear silence, all of a sudden it comes back, boo. Like, it was so fucking funny. But yeah, so the crowd was all over Sareee here. They were so into Hina. I was getting really into this too, and honestly, I didn't take enough notes of this match because I was just so into cheering on Hina. But yeah, she got a close near fall, almost off the opening bell with the Gato clutch, but then Sareee absolutely murders her with a drop kick against the ropes. And the entire early part of the match is Sareee repeatedly killing Hina. Hina would get a couple hope spots, but otherwise it was Sareee just being the big bully. And it was kind of interesting to see Hina play the underdog after like months in this future title reign, whereas we've talked about on the show, Hina is like the big gatekeeper of the future division. She's been bullying everybody. She bullied Sayaka in their title match. She bullied Rion. I mean, that's her role as the future champion, is to be the bully to the younger wrestlers. And now she has to deal with a much bigger bully here in Sareee. Hina got off her judo throw, which the crowd loved. We got a hard exchange of forearms to the chest. Hina is getting really fired up, throwing them at Sareee repeatedly, but Sareee still wouldn't really budge. And then Sareee just killed her with these 2 missile drop kicks off the top. Sareee later on would get her knees up on a mad splash attempt from Hina. That was just after the 10-minute call. And then she murdered her with a running double stomp with Hina in a seated position. Hina very nearly caught her with the Gato clutch again. Sareee kicked out like 2.99. Hina then no-sold a German suplex from Sareee. She popped right back up, and then she also survived like this arm clutch backdrop suplex as well. Sareee hit a top rope double stomp. Hina kicked out the first time. She just barely managed to kick out that time. And then Sareee finally goes up, hits a second one. That finally gets the pin. So yeah, 4 stars for this. The top stuff on this show absolutely delivered. So, it's this again, the undercard a little sleepy, but the top 3 other matches in the show were so great. You have to call this another good show. So there you go. Let's do the blue block standings, or the 2 blue blocks, I should say, since obviously the only remaining Stardom show we have to talk about is a red block show. So at the end of this show on August 3rd, both these blocks are a little weird because we have some people who have wrestled 3 and some who have wrestled 2. In Blue A, Amy Sohrei is your leader so far at 3-0 for 6 points. Then it's Bozilla in second, 2-0-1 for 5 points. And Saori Anou in third, 2-1 for 4 points. Then Aya Sakura in fourth, 1-1 for 2 points. Then your 2 wrestlers with 2 points who are 1-2, which is Saya Ida and Miyu Amasaki. Then you have Ruaka, who's also only wrestled 2 matches. She's 0-1-1. She has 1 point. And Yuria Hime is 0-3, so she's at 0 points, of course. Blue Block B, Momo Watanabe is the leader, 3-0 with 6 points. Hanako is 2-0 with 4 points. She's only got 2 matches so far. Suzu Suzuki and Sareee also have 4 points, but they're both 2-1. Then you have Konami and Rana Yagami, both 1-2 for 2 points, although I guess Rana has the tiebreaker there since he beat Konami today. And then Hina is 0-2 for 0 points, so she has no points yet, but she's only wrestled 2 matches. And Momo Kogo is in last. She is 0-3, 0 points. So that is it, folks. In a second, I will be back with you. Like I said, I don't know why I act like I'm wrapping up the podcast. In 2 seconds, you'll hear me again through the magic of podcast time travel for the last 5-star show of the week, and then we'll do all the G1 shows from this past week with me and Quinlan together. So, see you in a sec. All right, so we're back here to finish off this episode. I'm here with Quinlan now. Hello, Quinlan.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
So I guess before we get to the last Stardom show and the G1 shows, I talked about on the episode earlier that I recorded throughout the week, but obviously the reason why we're here and everything and why this episode was a little weird is because of this Kevin Smith comedy show we went to together, which, was your birthday present from your sister.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the show? You're a big fan of Kevin Smith, right?
Yeah, I think I've seen every one of his films except one, Jersey Girl. And I have to say, most of his stand-up was, I think, a typical stand-up that anyone would find funny. He did spend some time talking about some of his films. There were jokes here and there that you might not have gotten if you haven't watched any of his movies, but for the most part, I think like it was a stand-up routine that anyone would find funny.
The funniest story was the one when he was in the White Castle in Kentucky.
Yeah, that one anyone could. That was not related to any of his films, about ordering an Impossible Burger in a Kentucky White
Impossible
Castle.
Sliders,
Impossible Slider, and they didn't even know they carried them.
And then that guy comes in and like, I guess this was right after Ben Affleck was getting divorced from Jennifer Garner, right?
I mean, it must have been Jennifer Garner, yeah.
And like, he wanted him to call Ben Affleck for him, and instead he calls Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
Jason Mewes, who pretends to be Ben Affleck.
Pretends to be Ben Affleck.
And somehow the guy buys it when according to Kevin Smith, he didn't like disguise his voice at all. He just said, "Yo, it's Ben Affleck," like basically just like Jay would. And
it was pretty. That was definitely the funniest story. But yeah, that was a pretty good one.
I didn't also know about the way how he is a vegan. I knew he was a vegan. I didn't know he's a vegan that hates vegetables and only eats food that is made out of vegetables but pretends to be something else. Like he eats vegan meatballs and vegan burgers. He won't actually eat a straight up like lettuce or you have to fool him to thinking it's something else. So it's just an interesting way.
It's kind of funny.
I found that funny, but it saved his life. So
yeah, so good for him. But yeah, so we're going to talk about the final Stardom show here. I've done all the rest of them from this week already on solo audio. So you're not a regular Stardom viewer, so you can just jump in if you have anything to add. You did watch this show. Oh, I picked the wrong one.
I don't remember that match.
I picked the day one because they put the day one first for some reason, even though the evening one happened after. But yeah, so this was the 5-star Grand Prix in Utsunomiya, the night show from Sunday, August 3rd. This was a good show. It wasn't nearly as good as the last Red Block only show, the Sendai show that was the best show of the tournament so far a couple days ago. And it wasn't as good as the Blue Block show from earlier in the day either. Mostly because there was one match that I was really looking forward to that ended up going really quick. Which makes me wonder if they did that for a reason, but we'll get to that when we talk about it. Still a good show though. It did 502 in attendance here, which was up from 410 for the evening show last year. Pretty much every show on this tour has been up so far. And the two shows that a combined 1,044, the two Utsunomiya shows, versus 918 last year. So that was up about 12%, courtesy of Chris, who did the math in the Discord, so thank you, Chris. But yeah, the show opened with Red Stars A, Saya Kamatani defeating Waka Tsukiyama in just 40 seconds. That moves Saya up to 3-0, and Waka is still 0-3, still at 0 points. Waka offered Saya a handshake. Saya not only didn't take it, but grabbed the mic and started berating her in Japanese, which I thought was funny. She big booted her right off the bell, tried for the Star Crusher immediately. Waka kind of tried to reverse it into a few different roll-up attempts, but then, then eventually did just hit the Star Crusher and get the pin in under a minute. So one of those matches you technically have to rate because, you're doing the averages and stuff, so I just gave it 2.5. I mean, it was 40 seconds long. Can't really say much about it, but very quick match.
Yeah, there's... it literally says 40 there.
Yeah, 40.
So 40 that's what I want.
It's a kanji for seconds, yeah. The next match on the show was in the Red Stars B League. Natsuka Tora defeats Rion in 5 minutes and 38 seconds. I should say Saya went to 4 now. I think I said she went to 3 now. She's got 8 points. But yeah, this one, Tora goes to 3-1 here, gets up to 6 points. She beats Rion, who's still at 0 points here. So Rion tried to go after Tora early. She was just shrugging off her drop kicks, as you'd probably expect. We got the first of many whipping into chairs on the ringside area from the Hate members. And Rion got some near falls off of some flash cradles back in the ring. The crowd was super into that. They were really into Rion going for the upset. But they even started chanting for her. But Tora ended up putting her away with the splash off the second rope. Pretty fun while it lasted. Rion's a great underdog, and that's kind of her role now. So yeah, 2 3/4. All right little match, just over very quickly, obviously. Then we had in Red A, Lady C defeating Azusa Inaba in 8:24. That moved Lady C to 2-2, so she's at 4 points. Azusa fell to 1-3. This started with some pretty good mat wrestling from both girls, I thought. Lady C tried with a giant swing. Azusa reversed it into a cradle the first time, But then she did get the giant swing the second try, and Azusa's like screaming was pretty funny, I thought. Like she was just like screeching during that giant swing. Azusa did more of the chair tossing, the hate chair tossing on the outside. And then Azusa got Lady with a leg kick back in or leg lock, I should say. She got her in a leg lock back in the ring, but she made the ropes. They traded some hard big boots after the 5-minute call. Azusa went for the Anigoe, but she gives everybody like a lot of advance notice when she's going to hit that move, like the way she yells it and does that whole big speech. So Lady did take the warning and got out of the way. She hit another running big boot in the corner, did a choke slam after trying for it a couple times earlier, and then another running big boot for the pin. I thought this was pretty damn good. It showed, both girls showed some good fire here, which used to be more of a problem for Lady C, but she's really made a lot of progress on that front. So 3 1/4. I enjoyed this one. Then we had Red B. We had Starlight Kid defeating Sayaka Kurara in 11:21. That moved Starlight Kid up to 5 points. She's 2-1-1, while Sayaka is now at 1-3. This was one I was looking forward to because it's the first time ever match between these two. I thought it was pretty good. SLK, really good actually. So SLK, she was doing the kind of the world's tiniest bully routine that I love, where she's she's a very tiny woman, and she still manages to bully other people. And she was working over her leg. Sayaka came back with a drop kick, and she was doing a good job for the most part, still selling the leg. She got fired up. She was hitting these repeated forearms to Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid just no-sold them and hit a beautiful low drop kick to Sayaka's leg. She then hit this brutal-looking running double knees to the back of Sayaka. She got the stretch muffler on. Sayaka was doing some really great selling, really like screaming during the hold, and the crowd really got behind her and was chanting for her there before she finally made the ropes. Starlight Kid missed her rotating splash. Sayaka absolutely killed her at that point with a running knee to the face. But Starlight Kid got the submission back on. Sayaka this time managed to roll out of it and escape. She hit a pair of Tokimeki spears out of nowhere. That got her a 2 count. She also very, very nearly pinned her with a cradle out of nowhere, another very close near fall. But Starlight Kid eventually put her away with the Michinoku driver and the moonsault. So yeah, very good. The only flaw might have been occasional inconsistent selling of the leg from Sayaka. She did run a little too fast a couple times, but you could argue Starlight Kid didn't work it over for that long of a length of time. But yeah, I thought her selling otherwise was really good, and that really carried this one. So I went 3 3/4.
Did you think this was the best match of the show?
No, second best. Oh. The best match of the show, I would say, was the next one. Why, this was your favorite match?
It might have been. It was up there with the next one, I think. So it's hard to. How long is Sayaka is actually older than Starlight Kid, right?
Yeah, she's I think 24.
Starlight Kid acts like she's like a veteran already.
Well, because she's been wrestling for 10 years. So.
10 years, even though she's
only like 23, yeah. But yeah, Sayaka, for someone who started in December 2023, is really good, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Year and a half experience. The next match was, this one they kind of built up with Yuna wanting to challenge May for the high-speed title, and she did get the win here. This was her first win in the tournament so far. Yuna Mizumori defeated May Sierra in 9:28 with the Supergirl, the Superman pose pin. Mm-hmm. So that gave Yuna her first 2 points. She's now 1-3, while May is 2-1-1. She was undefeated entering this. She had 2 wins and a draw. They went very fast off the opening bell, as you probably expect, and I always find it challenging to do the play-by-play notes for these high-speed style matches, because they basically just run around nonstop. I mean, just going like a mile a minute. We got the pop-up no-sell from Unimon at one point off this huge release German from May. She just popped right up and hit the big lariat, just very 90s All Japan style. That left both girls down. There were some really hard strikes in this, especially from Yuna. She slapped the taste out of May's mouth at one point. They kept going for cradles. They kept reversing each other. That ended with a sequence where May nearly pinned her off a sunset flip. Yuna, though, just fucking takes her head off with a lariat. May no-sells it, hits that super high, super stiff dropkick she does. But Yuna then reverses an attempt at the sit-out powerbomb that May does. She reversed it into a Rana, and then she got the Supergirl pin. That got her the win. Awesome stuff, all action, 4 stars, my match of the night. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, this and the match previous were the two best matches of the show. I also thought they were both by far the best two matches.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the next match too, but so those are the three I'd put. Or not the next match, the one after the next one. The next match I was really looking forward to. It was Azumi against Natsupoi. Azumi ended up only beating her in 2 minutes and 35 seconds, so they went really quick here. It does make me wonder if that may have been, like something where they're going to meet again in the playoffs. Like, that was my first thought.
That's what I thought as soon as it went 2 minutes, especially since they Azumi was talking trash.
So the zero was putting up. She was doing the Baipoi pose.
Oh, okay.
So she was doing Baipoi to Natsupoi, which is pretty funny. But yeah, Azumi, she should have known better at the start of this match to shake hands with Poi, because she looks all nice, but she's really a devious little gremlin. Mm-hmm. And she pulled her right into a German suplex before the bell. They went total high-speed style. They were blocking each other's signature pinning combination. Poi going for the Fairy Magic, Azumi going for the Azumi Sushi. They each got a cutback off of that. They both got the pin. And, Poi goes for the Fairy Magic again. Azumi blocks it and then hits a rolling Azumi Sushi where she, rolled into it a second time. That got the pin. This was amazing while it lasted, but, it was only 2.5 minutes, so I went 3.5 stars on it. And, yeah, I want to see more of this, and hopefully that means they're going to meet in the playoffs because, for 2.5 minute match.
That has to be where they're going. But.
Yeah. This is the match I was talking about. They put almost the same level as the other two. So after the intermission, we have the sisters, of course, Rina and Hanan, were in the two main events here. So here in the semi-main, Rina defeated Tomoka Inaba in 13:24. I was wondering what they're going to do here. I was like, are they really going to have Rina start off 4-0? Or are they going to have her lose in her hometown? Well, she did get the win, and she starts off 4-0. So she's all the way up to 8 points already. Tomoka is at 1-3 now. So she caught Rina with a big boot right off the bell. She pounded her with forearms. Rina put her down with her own big boot. She tossed her to the floor for some more chair whipping, and then threw some chairs at her for good measure. Back in the ring, we got the usual spitting spot from Rina on poor Daichi as usual, where he's telling her to break her choke, and she gets up and tells him to shut up and spits in his face. Mm-hmm. And then Azusa threw him the towel, and he threw it back at her after he wiped himself. I thought that was funny. They do that a lot, but it's always funny. The only criticism I would have of this match really is the leg work. I thought wasn't super interesting, especially because it was from Tomoka doing the leg work. Because you're doing that on the same show where Starlight Kid was doing leg work, and she's the master of it. So maybe you shouldn't try something else really. But Tomoka does have really nasty leg kicks at least. So the leg kick she was doing really 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 good looking. She had a really nasty one. Rina finally got the judo throw on her, though, and that got a big pop from the hometown crowd, even though she's a heel. Rina was doing a good job hobbling around, even as she hit a pair of diving double knees for a 2 count. We got another long leg lock from Tomoka after the 10-minute call. Rina did manage to make the ropes off of that. Tomoka did that combo where she acts like she's going to go for the high kick, and the opponent guards, so she hits the leg kick instead, and then hits a really hard kick to the head. That got her a 2 count. And then she caught her with a Michinoku driver for another close near fall, but Rina managed to get her hands on her whip that she brings out with her. With the ref distracted, she hit her with the whip, almost pinned her off of that with a cradle, and then finally hit the Pink Devil, and that got the pin. So I thought this was still very good by the end, even if the leg work, like I said, was a little bit dull at times, but the super hot closing stretch, I got it to 3 3/4. So, but I would say the third best match on the show after the other two we talked about. Then the main event, this unfortunately kind of ended the show on a down note. Hanan defeated B. Priestley in 12 minutes and 20 seconds. That moved Hanan up to 5 points to 1-1, and it gave B her first loss of the tournament, so she's now 3-1. B, she was rocking an all-black look for the first time in the tournament. I thought that was maybe a silent acknowledgement that she would be the heel here. B, at one point, you thought this was funny. She yelled out, it's a brainbuster on the floor. It was just very random.
Yeah.
Remember when she did that? She's like, it's a brainbuster.
Yeah, remind me of an anime character yelling their name of their move whenever they do it. It was just weird. I mean, she didn't do anything else like that. It was just, maybe she was just trying to get the crowd into the match, but yeah. I don't think they were that out, but maybe
because they were behind Hanan.
Yeah, so it was just an odd moment, I'll say.
Hanan then hit, she reversed the suplex after she yelled, it's a brainbuster, and then hit her own suplex on the floor. She also had a kind of weak-looking diving crossbody off the apron. B came back quickly, though, by driving her into the ring post on the side of the ring. And this, like, I'm sure even you notice this, and you're not a regular Stardom viewer. Like, the problem with B's matches so far is she works at such a slower pace than the entire rest of the roster, especially the people in red. You know, the red block people all work really fast for the most part, and it really stands out, right?
And it's especially noticeable when it's the last match on the show.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, like, you watched all those really fast matches, and then they're like, here's WWE B to slow it down.
Did she work in Stardom before going to...
She did.
And was she like that back then?
I don't really... I mean, she had some people who liked her and some people didn't like her, if I remember correctly, but I don't remember her working this slow, so I feel like it's...
Maybe she just hasn't gotten the WWE out of her system yet.
That's what I would think.
Maybe in time she'll go back to the way she was. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't...
We got a long half crab from B in the ring before Hanan finally kicked her way out of it. She clotheslined B to the floor and hit a diving cross body to the floor again. And I just wrote at this point, this match is so boring. It did pick up at the end, though. So B hit a nice German suplex hold for a 2 count just at the 10-minute call. The crowd was into it at this point. They were chanting for Hanan. Hanan hit a backdrop suplex on B. B no-sold it, but then she kind of hit a... Hanan kind of hit like this high-angle DDT that almost looked like the Sonata deadfall. That got a 2 count. She hit another high-angle backdrop suplex, this one off the second rope, followed by the backdrop suplex hold, and that got the pin. So yeah, this wasn't awful or anything, but just kind of a flat main after all this good stuff earlier. So I went 2 3/4, you know, feel like that's fair. But it's pretty much where B has been living for this tournament. So nothing that bad and nothing that great. But yeah, good show despite the flat ending with the main event. So the standings at the end of the week here for the Red Blocks. Red A, we have Saya Kamatani in first place with 8 points. B, Priestley's in second with 6 points. May Sierra and Hanan are tied for third with 5 points. Lady C has 4 points. Azusa Inaba and Yuna Mizumori both have 2 points. And Waka Sumiyama has 0. Red B, it's Rina all alone in first, which I don't think many people would have predicted. She has 8 points. Natsuka Tora in second with 6 points. Starlight Kid and Azumi tied for third with 5 points. Natsupoi in fifth with 4 points. Tomoka Inaba and Sayaka tied for 7th with 2 points, and then Rion in the bottom with 0 points. So we'll see what's coming up in the second week here. This is stuff we'll cover next week with a very similar show where I'm going to be on the road, so I'm going to have to do like the shows as they go along. But yeah, the first show is at Cork, and this is a mixed block show, so it's a lot of you get blue and red here. We have Blue B with Rana Yagami against Momo Watanabe. Red A, May Sierra against B Priestley. And then also Red A, Yuna Mizumori against Azusa Inaba. Blue A, the still undefeated Amy Sohrei against Ruaka. Red B, Sayaka against Natsuka Tora. Blue B, Suzu Suzuki against Hanako. Blue B, Hina against Konami. Blue A, Saori Anou against Bozilla. That should be really good, actually, given how great Saori is at bumping. Red B, Azumi against Rina. And then the main event, which probably one of the biggest matches of the tournament so far, Red A, Hanan against Saya Kamatani. I kind of think that's going to be Saya's first loss. I think she's finally going to lose to Hanan there, but we'll see. So that's your Korakuen show. That's coming up on Wednesday, August 6th. Then they go to Kyoto on Saturday. So that show is on August 9th. This is we're back to the single block, so this one is all blue block. Blue A, we have Saya Ida against Miyu Amasaki. We have Saori Anou against Ruaka. Still in, these are, maybe, this might not have the card order yet, because they have the 4 blue A's and 4 blue B's. So yeah, Saya Ida against Miyu Amasaki, Saori Anou against Ruaka, Amy Sohrei against Yuria Hime, and Aya Sakura against Bozilla. Those are your blue A matches. Your blue B, Hanako against Momo Watanabe, Suzu Suzuki against Sareee. That's a huge match. I bet that will probably end up being the main when they release the card order. Hina against Rana Yagami, and we have Momo Kogo against Konami. And the other show of the week, the Sunday show in Okayama. So this would be an all red block show, I believe. Although there might be an extra show thing on it now because of that one cancellation. So yeah, this is on August 10th on Sunday. It opened I don't think we have the order yet, but the one blue match, the rescheduled match from Blue Stars A, is Aya Sakura against Ruaka. Then the red A matches, we have Mei Sierra against Azusa Inaba. We have Yuna Mizumori against Waka Tsukiyama. Hanan against Lady C. A little bit of a battle of the talls there. And then red B, we have Starlight Kid against Natsuka Tora. Natsupoi against Rina. That's one I'm really looking forward to. Sayaka Kurara against Tomoka Inaba. And Azumi against Rion. So those are your upcoming cards this week. 3 more shows in Stardom. Alright, so now we can go over to New Japan for the G1 Climax. We have 5 shows to get through here. So it starts out with Night 7 from last Sunday on July 27th. This did 2,162 at the Nagoya International, this is Port Messi. Oh no, Port Messi Nagoya Exhibition Hall 1. Yeah, so it's a new building because the famous Dolphins Arena in Nagoya, which was like their main building, closed.
Is gone. Yes.
So the last show was the Tanahashi Jam show.
Show we couldn't watch live.
Well, yeah, but you still should have watched that. The show was great. But yeah, so that last year in Dolphins Arena they did 3,205. That was a Tsuji versus Narita main. So they were down about 1,000 plus here again, which was not great, obviously. The attendance got better throughout the week though, which is good. We'll get to that. But yeah, this show, the building apparently I've heard is a lot harder to get to. Like it's on this like island on like the outskirts of Nagoya, like by a Legoland or something. Huh. So that could also explain part of the attendance drop. So, but
is it a walk from like a train station?
I don't know, but it's definitely further away for people too. It's like Ota Ward Gym in Tokyo, I think, where you really have to go out of your way to go to it.
Yeah.
So the first G1 match here was Yota Tsuji defeating Bolton Oleg in 10:03 with the Gene Blaster. That moved Yota up to 8 points at this point, and Bolton was stuck at 6. There was only a second loss, though, at the time. Yeah, I thought this was a little surprisingly boring at the start. Not a ton going on early. There was a nice tope by Tsuji. That was cool. They did kind of miss up a spot in the corner where Bolton was supposed to go for like a Vader bomb.
I remember them missing up multiple spots, but I don't remember it wrong. I remember being disappointed.
I have my notes.
Oh, okay.
I might have gotten whatever else you thought. But yeah, Bolton, he was supposed to go with the Vader bomb, this flash in the corner, and Tsuji was supposed to get his knees up, but Bolton overshot him pretty badly. He just put him down and then did it for real right after, which was kind of strange. But yeah, Tsuji grabbed the ropes to block the kamikaze. He hit a really nice running knee in the corner. Bolton blocked the Marlowe crash, though, by grabbing Tsuji in midair and like hoisting him up on his shoulders. That looked pretty impressive. I don't know why I'm pantomiming for you. The audience can't see that. Yeah. Tsuji ends up, it's just an audience of one seeing my pantomiming. Tsuji ends up dropping down behind him, but he still gets German suplex, but Tsuji pops right up and hits the short-range Gene Blast, which that looked a little off too. Maybe that was the other thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Bolton did end up catching Tsuji with the pop-up shorter-range kamikaze when he caught him running in. That always looks really cool. It's a really cool addition to his moveset. That got a 2 count. He tried the full kamikaze, but Tsuji escaped it. Hit 3 straight knees to a kneeling Bolton. He went for the Gene Blast, but then Bolton tossed him aside and hit this awesome huge lariat for a 2 count. That spot was awesome. Bolton hit the landslide, which used to be Nakamura's finisher at one point. He went for the kamikaze again. Tsuji kept grabbing the ropes to block it. Bolton finally climbs up to the second turnbuckle with Tsuji on his shoulders and tried to press slam him. This is the other spot you're probably thinking of. Tsuji's supposed to turn into Rana, but they messed it up and it didn't look very good.
Yeah.
But Tsuji finished him up with the Gene Blast soon after. If they hadn't messed up that Rana counter, I think I still would have gone higher on this match because I did enjoy it besides the little botches, but it was a little too sloppy at times, even though I was getting really into it. So I ended up going 3.5. It was still good, I thought, but it wasn't great.
I feel like you're being very generous with that score.
Okay.
I thought this show overall was my most disappointing. It wasn't bad.
This was definitely a down show.
It was a down show. That's and night one were the 2 down shows.
Yeah, for the A block especially, given how much I like the A block.
It also hurt that the shows leading up to this were all really, really good. Yeah. This one kind of was just
Then we had Callum Newman beating David Finlay in 10:32 with a Hurricanrana. This was during Finlay's big losing streak, so this dropped him to 1-4 for 2 points. While Finlay Callum got his second win to get to 4 points. Callum jumped Finlay before the bell. Finlay came back much harder, and Callum took some super hard bumps into the seats at ringside. We got this like shockingly big lariat from Callum, and I was like, where the hell did that come from? Finlay hit the into Oblivion for a 2 count, just before the 10-minute call, but Callum pinned Finlay out of nowhere. Not that long after that, with the he countered a powerbomb from Finlay into a Rana for the pin. So yeah, this is pretty good, but never hit any kind of next level for me. So like 3 1/4. Then we. Sorry, you gonna say?
No, I don't really have many memories of this match. It kind of was just there. I do remember what you were saying before about Newman kind of acting, I guess, heelish. I don't know, like jumping in before the bell.
Yeah, he was like being very aggressive.
And that was just very weird to me. I don't know if that's. I mean, the last time a wrestler was doing that was Umino, I remember, and then that went nowhere. Maybe this goes somewhere. I don't know.
Sonata versus Taichi. Sonata beat him in 14:05. I saw some people really like this, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I was too pissed off that Taichi lost to the bullshit, but I didn't really enjoy this that much.
I didn't enjoy it I probably didn't dislike it as much as you, but I remember them messing up a spot in there too.
So maybe I have it in here. But yeah, Sonata beat him in 14:05. It just says pinfall. But yeah, so Sonata's out for the day, by the way. He had white satin and yellow with yellow sunglasses. So I've been keeping track of his wacky outfits, so I had to write that down. Taichi just went straight after this bastard who turned on last year before the bell even rang. I like that. They did the usual crowd brawling before some woman at ringside turned heel because she handed Sonata her water bottle for him to hit Taichi with. She was like, "Here you go." I was like, what a heel turn by that random lady. Kanemaru tripped Taichi up from the outside, but Taichi then got assistance from Milano and then whipped him into a seated Sonata. That was pretty fun.
That was fun.
The 2 Black Saints, they were celebrating together, an awesome spot. A giant Milano chant broke out. That was great. Taichi hit both Kanemaru, who was on the apron at that point, back in the ring, and Sonata with axe bombers, but he couldn't get the super kick. Taichi avoided the moonsault from Sonata. They kept going back and forth. Oh, this is what you're probably thinking of. He had a very sloppy Tiger Driver, which looked horrible. So that was the one you're talking about. But Taichi just no-sold it anyway, so it's not that big a deal. He had a backdrop suplex. That got a 2 count. Taichi blocked a low blow from Sonata. He hit one of his own instead, and he got the Gato clutch. I thought that was going to be the pin, because remember they did all the low blow stuff earlier in the year during their feud. But Kanemaru pulled the referee out. Taichi stood there yelling at him like an idiot, which is like my most hated spot in all of wrestling when people do that. That let Sonata low blow him back. Sonata hit the Shining Wizard. Kanemaru handed him the guitar. Yasuda stopped him with a drop kick. You know, that's like the young lion from Sapporo or from Hokkaido, so they've got a bond going. He also hit a drop kick on Kanemaru. Taichi grabbed the guitar. Sonata begged off, and Taichi actually stood there like an idiot again. And Kanemaru spit whiskey at him and hit him with the bottle. And Sonata then broke the guitar over his head, and Marty came back in and counted the pinfall. So yeah, you know, I got what they were going for, like the ghost of the fucking just 5 guys, Kanemaru and Sonata haunting Taichi. But I don't know. Taichi losing this was such a fucking bummer after how we started off the tournament. I was really hoping he'd go to the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen.
He's not mathematically limited.
No, I mean, if he wins his last 2 matches, I guess it's still possible, depending on tiebreakers. But yeah, I don't know. 2 3/4. I was not in a good mood after this. So. Then we had Yuya Uemura beating Evil in 13:42 with the deadbolt suplex. That gave them matching records at this point. They were both 3 and 2 for 6 points. Evil was working over Yuya's back to start. Dick drilled Yuya in the back with a chair to break up a submission attempt before sending him in the ref. Fale came in as they were like double teaming him, and we got the dick-to-dick contact. Yuya fought out of the Evil. You know, when Evil trying to hit the Evil. Hit the deadbolt suplex, but he couldn't hold on with the bridge because of the back work from earlier. Yuya decided to suddenly do a crossbody from the top rope to the floor to take out Fale, and they took care of Togo too, but that gave Evil too much time to recover. He hit Darkness Falls, a huge lariat, and then locked in the Darkness Scorpion. Evil, I always find it funny, by the way, like, you're Japanese, the referee is also Japanese, even your opponent is Japanese. Why is he saying "ask him ref" in English?
Yeah, they do that a lot with a lot of
things.
Like,
ask him referee. I'm like, why were you saying that in English?
They also say give up. Yeah.
Yuya fought off Togo again when he came back in after he got out of the Darkness Scorpion. He can't get the deadbolt again because of his bat, His back, I mean. He sticks with it, though. He finally hits it for the win. I really like this. I think I was like the only person on Earth who really liked this match. I saw even like the other sickos in the Super J-Cast Discord didn't seem to like it that much. But I thought Yuya's back selling here was really great. And I thought it was like a very, everything a good house match could be. So I went 3 3/4. I thought it felt like a big accomplishment when he finally won. I enjoyed it. You didn't really like it as much, I'm guessing.
It was fine.
Okay. The main event, Hiroshi Tanahashi loses to Ryohei Oiwa, so Oiwa beats him in 14-20 with the grip. Oiwa got up to 3-2 for 6 points at that point, and Tana dropped to 2-3. Crowd was very hot for Tana to start here, but they did quiet down because the match got pretty boring early on. There's nothing wrong with this match, but it just wasn't grabbing me on the level of some of Tana's other main events in this tournament, including one we're going to get to. Oiwa hit the running grip for the pin. I didn't really write a lot of notes on this. I guess I wasn't that into it, but it was the good match. The crowd was really into it, but I just went 3.5. I just didn't think it was much more than that.
I thought this match started off slow, then it started getting good, and right when it started getting good, it ended. Because it only went 14 minutes, and I'm like, all right, here we go, and then it just ended. I was like, oh, that's it? Okay. It felt like it ended like 5 or 7 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes early, but
Tana can only do so much.
I guess I've noticed a lot of his matches, even when he's in the main event, are on the shorter side. But this one in particular, I thought was really short, and I felt like they could have gone longer.
So there you go. That was night 7. So then we move over to night 8, which was Wednesday, July 30th.
And I think you didn't like the show either, but
no.
We'll get to it.
You didn't like? Did you like it?
I remember really liking the main event, but the rest of the show was meh.
So this was from the Yamato Arena in Osaka. It did 1,390. That's the same building where they did 1,711 last year for a G1 show headlined by Zack versus Shingo. I feel like, so this is like a point I wanted to make. It feels like to me, I don't know if it's because he's an AEW guy and people like him because of that reason, or he's a really good wrestler, although I don't think he's having as good of a G1 as he had last year. People kind of let Takeshita off the hook for not being a big draw in New Japan. Like, I feel like him and the main event against Zack should have been a bigger draw than this. This is his hometown, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Zack is his hometown. I mean, Zack versus Shingo, so it's the exact same opponent with Zack versus a different opponent, and does, like, more than 300 fans less than last year. Like, Takeshi is not any kind of draw for New Japan. Like, I think that's worth noting.
Which
I feel like people don't give him...
odd.
People don't really mention that when they're talking about New Japan's drawing struggles.
Didn't he get a really good response when he was in the G1 last year?
Yeah.
So that's weird.
I don't know. I mean, his hometown here, I thought this show would do that.
Maybe people are just angry for other reasons.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tsunami warning, too. Maybe that could have hurt. So maybe it would have done about the same as last year if it wasn't for that. Although I don't know if that really affected Osaka. I didn't really hear. The tsunami didn't end up being a big deal or anything either. So.
Yeah.
The first tournament match here was Great Okan defeating ELP with the Super Eliminator, the top rope eliminator, in 14:50. This one's surprisingly long. ELP, I've been hard on throughout this tournament. He did hit a couple of decent little dives to the floor early. They brawl into the crowd, where wrestlers should probably not do that in embarrassing the empty building, by the way.
Yeah.
Because it showed, like, why brawl up to a bunch of empty stands, like completely empty stands? Like, are they trying to embarrass the company on purpose?
I mean, Japan, for some reason,
they don't seem to care.
They don't fill up seats that are in like direct view of like of a camera. Or
this one though, they went right to him.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, no one's coming. Oh well, like they don't. Yeah. I don't know why, but it's not an embarrassment to them. They just are like, that's the way it is. And then,
there was nothing wrong with this match, really. I will say ELP doing the fighting spirit no-sells for Okan is a bit corny looking. It's just from him. Great Okan getting the pin, like I said, with the top rope eliminator.
I'm glad he won.
It didn't have a ton of heat, but honestly, I've seen way worse ELP performances in this tournament than this match. So, pretty good match. 3 1/4. Good little...
I probably would have disliked it if Khan didn't win, but he did. So.
Drilla Maloney defeated Ren Narita in 9:52 at the Drilla Killa. That got him to 4-1 at this point for 8 points, and it gave Narita also 8 points, but he's 4-2 at this point. The usual crowd brawling stuff to start. Kanemaru hit Drilla with a chair back in the ring when Narita took the ref. That led to a schoolboy for a 2 count. Ren went into a sleeper and hit a German suplex hold for a 2 count, which Ren's like suplexes are really underrated, I think. We mentioned that a lot. I think he has really good suplexes. He went right back to the sleeper, but Drilla made the ropes to break. Drilla countered the guillotine knee in midair where they sit out powerbomb. That looked really cool. So that was a cool spot. The sparse crowd here was not super into it, but I thought this was a pretty good match at this point. And Drilla went for the Drilla Killer. Ren pushed him into the ref. Baloney fought off both Ren and Kanemaru by himself. Somehow he also got busted open hard way. Did you see when that happened? I didn't see when that happened.
Yeah, I was wondering where that happened too, and I didn't see it.
Maybe the camera just missed it then. He went up top and dropped an elbow on Ren. He avoided a low blow, and he low blowed Ren instead himself, and then hit the Gore and the Drilla Killer for the pin. I thought this was good. I went 3.5. Good match.
You were saying that Narita does really good suplex and everything. Narita is just really good in general, but it feels like they don't know what to do with him. Like, the first thing they did wasn't working with, wasn't he basically just like, I'm going to be the new Shibata?
Yeah.
Doesn't
work because he doesn't have good strikes.
Yeah. So that didn't work. So then they put him in House of Torture, and that wasn't really a step backwards as much as they built a fucking bottomless pit behind him and fucking threw him in. Like, that was the worst idea, and it doesn't look like they're planning to take him out of that group anytime soon, and I feel like he's really been lost in the shuffle there, especially since it feels like every show they had, like, more new members, and now there's
10 members.
Jeez.
Maybe they'll take him out, who knows?
What has he done since? He's won, like, the 6-man fucking belts, and
He won the TV title for 2 seconds.
I have no memory of that.
He did.
Oh, yeah, I kind of do remember
You
that
were at
now.
the show where you lost it, buddy.
Yeah.
You were literally in the building when he lost the title at the Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I just... That whole reign, like, was nothing.
It was like 2 months.
Yeah, and he barely even... Was there even, like... It was mostly just building up for G1.
Well, okay,
for Tokyo Dome.
So part of the problem with Ren, though, because I really liked his stuff with Gabe Kidd earlier in the year. Remember they had that awesome match at Korakuen, the New Japan Cup?
Mm.
Where they brawled all over ringside, and then they were a big focus of the cage. That was supposed to be his big match for G1.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that would have made event.
I agree. I guarantee that would have been the main event.
And that probably would have. Well, it definitely was originally.
It was.
The main event.
Okay,
yeah.
I told you I thought it was.
Yeah, and so I think that would have been a great match.
That would have been.
Yeah. So he lost his big highlight moment.
Yeah. So.
Then we had Shingo Takagi defeating Shota Umino in 22:45 with the Burning Dragon. That made Shingo 3-3 at this point and dropped Shota to 2-4. Wait, this says 2-4. No, he's 3. He was 3-3 at this point. That made him 6 points still. Wait. Okay, Chris Charlton, your stuff on the website was wrong. I'm reading off it. This made Shingo 2-4. He reversed it. So Shingo made
Are
Shingo
they counting?
2-4.
Oh, has he won since then?
This was Shingo's first actual win.
Oh, okay.
So this made Shingo 2-4. I was reading off the website and Chris Charlton fucked up. So it made Shingo 2-4. It was his first actual win because the only points before this was the forfeit over Gabe, and it dropped Shota to 3-3. But yeah, I thought this was the best match of the show. It had some good but not great stuff early in front of the still pretty dead crowd. They were a little more audibly into this than they were in the last 2 matches. And then I thought it had a super hot closing stretch. Shota hit a running knee, and then this enormous lariat. The crowd went crazy for that. That was like the craziest they've been all night. Shingo reversed the second chapter into a brainbuster. Umino no-sold it and hit a standing lariat. Shingo kicked out at 1. They traded these really hard headbutts before Shingo blocked another attempt at a running knee. He hit the Takagi-style GTR and the Last of the Dragon, but he can't cover him because his knee was hurting him from Shota working on it earlier. The crowd was really behind him at this point. He hit a huge pumping bomber, but Shota kicked out at 2, and Shingo then hit his super finisher, the wrist clutch burning hammer, the burning dragon. That got the pin finally. So yeah, this took a while to get going, but I thought the final stretch was so fucking fun, and it was great to hear the crowd finally into something on the show. I went 3 3/4. Thought it was a very good match.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, but I thought the main event was a little better.
Yeah, I mean, the main event was close, but still a little disappointing, I thought. So, main event, a lot of people liked this a lot more than I did, so that's, Zack Sabre Jr. beat Konosuke Takeshita here in 22:37 with the modified sleeper. That made Zack 3-2 for 6 points and dropped Takeshita to 3-2 as well. It was good, but not quite great for me for the first 15 minutes in. They had one, kind of awkward sequence, I thought, right? The 15-minute call, where it felt like they didn't do great, getting in and out of these flash pen attempts. I thought it was surprisingly clunky. We got a Zack driver, but Takeshita kicked out of it. There was this really hard strike exchange around the 20-minute call. That featured Zack just, rocking Takeshita with a slap in the face. but he ran right into a huge knee from Takeshita. The knee from Takeshita really destroyed him. Zack countered the Raging Fire with a sleeper, and they ended up on the mat. Takeshita ended up climbing the middle rope with Zack on his back in the sleeper still. He fell backward onto Zack, which looked like it sucked for Zack, but that still couldn't break Zack's grip. They stood up. He slowly managed to lift him onto his shoulders, but then he did it was a kind of weird looking counter, I thought. I thought it was supposed to be a take, like German suplex from that position, which that didn't look great to me. And then Zack just won. So I thought the flat finish didn't help. Apparently I'm the low person on this. I still went 3 3/4. There was still a lot of good stuff here, but I was expecting like 4+ from this match, which I guess most people gave it. I just wasn't at that level for this.
Actually, I think I'm on almost the exact same page you are when I actually talk about it, because I did expect like this to be one of the matches of the tournament.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that good. I did think it was the best match of the show, but I also agree the first 15 minutes were kind of dull and it didn't really pick up to the last 7 minutes. I thought that last 7 minutes was awesome, but I really did think I expect a lot more from this. I saw this match on the list. I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be awesome, and then it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, but I think Takeshita hasn't been doing as well as I expected him to. He hasn't been bad. He hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
He's just not as blow-away as I thought he would be.
He had one awesome match with Shingo, which is this, I think, like my 3rd best match of the tournament. That was a 4.5-star match. The match was amazing.
Way better than the Tokyo Dome match.
Way better than the Tokyo Dome match. I didn't think anything else he's done has been that.
But I'm like that. It's not been bad. It's just
been
not what I expected Takeshita is, considering
exactly
how good he's been, and how good he was last year in the G1.
Yeah, I totally agree. Then we had G1. That was that show. Like I said, nothing bad on the show, and like
better than the previous show probably,
but nothing hit a super high level.
Yeah.
Then we had Night 9, which was Friday, July 1st, from the Sun Messi Kagawa.
Friday, August 1st.
And Friday, August 1st. Again, Chris Charlton!
Oh, he did. Did he put it there? Oh, I saw that. I remember I seen that on the website. I said, oh, they fucked that up. Yeah.
I need to stop reading off this English website.
When I was looking at results earlier this week to see the
Chris,
undercard
if
results.
You're listening, buddy. Stop at the typos.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show, Friday, August 1st, in Takamatsu. So this show started the attendance rebound. This did only 1,244, but Takamatsu's really far out there. That's I believe that's Shikoku. That either nobody lives on.
Oh, okay.
And there's actually slightly up from last year's show. Last year's was 1,219, so only by 25 fans, but it was up. Up is up.
Okay.
So yeah, this show, this was again in the A block. Look, he says B block there. Chris Charlton. But yeah, the show opened up on the G1 matches with Callum Newman defeating Sonata in 10-11 with the Prince's Curse. That moved Callum to 3-3 and dropped Sonata to 2-4. So Sonata this time, your Sonata update, he was wearing like this glittery jumpsuit, and he had like his glasses were like hands. Like, what was he trying to like cosplay that character from what's the name of the show? My Hero Academia with the hands on it.
Oh yes.
Because the hands were like over the glasses.
Maybe. I despite that, I still thought this was one of his more normal attires that he's wearing.
Sonata tried to hit a slingshot tope on Callum before the bell, but Callum moved out of the way, hit this really nice looking dive on him instead. Then we got the typical ringside brawling. Milano got bumped as ever. Callum did a good job selling his leg when Sonata worked over it. Sonata shoved the ref into the way of the Oz Cutter, which I think Callum did do a little slower than normal. We got a visual pin for Callum off a roll-up when the ref got bumped, so I thought the man was going to lose. But they ended up just hitting the Prince's Curse for the pin after he blocked the low blow from Sonata. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Good little opener. 3 1/4.
Yeah, it was alright.
Then we had Evil defeating Ryohei Oiwa in 9:27 with the Darkness Scorpion. That moved Evil to 4-2 and dropped Oiwa to 3-3. So Oiwa, he had an interesting strategy. He immediately went for a whole bunch of cradles to try to get the pin. In real, like in kayfabe, that's probably a really good strategy against the house. Because I'm just going to try to pin this guy before they can even do anything.
Yeah.
So that was actually pretty
smart.
That makes sense. So Evil kept trying to pin Oiwa in the ring at one point and was like, so he's like yelling at Marty Asami to count faster when he keeps repeatedly covering him, and Oiwa then rolls him up, and Marty indeed count a little faster for Oiwa. He's like, well, I did count faster, motherfucker. I thought that was pretty funny. Evil hit the grip on Oiwa, but Oiwa kicked out at one. He's like, you're not beating me with my own move. Hartley Jackson ran out to grab Fale and drag him to the back.
Oiwa actually has friends.
But Oiwa then got powder thrown in his face, And Evil put the Darkness Scorpion on him, and that got the
I guess for some reason the ref could not see the powder, but
well, he didn't see him. You can't just the powder could just match.
How the okay?
I don't know.
Maybe a fan threw it, or maybe it just.
I thought this was good. Enjoyable antics. 3.5.
Okay,
I liked it. I enjoyed this. Then we had David Finlay beating Bolton Oleg in 10:52 with the Granby roll. Bolton had control early until they went to the floor. That was Finley's second win, by the way. So it made him started to come back 2-4. Just dropped Bolton to 3-3. So yeah, Bolton had control early. They went to the floor, and Finlay hot shot him on the top rope, and then speared him all the way from the apron and the railing. That looked pretty brutal. He sent him flying through the gate. That also looked like it sucked for Bolton. That looked very painful. I mean, he's a huge man. He just goes fucking flying through this gate at ringside. They trade a bunch of big bombs throughout the match, but the highlight was Bolton hitting his awesome pop-up kamikaze for a 2 count. He hit the F5 when Finlay kept trying to elbow his way out of the full running kamikaze. That's a pretty cool counter too that he's been doing more of now. But then when he went for the full one, Finlay dropped down and rolled through into his roll-up, the Granby roll, and that got the pin. That was another good match. I went 3.5.
Yeah, I like the finish where Finlay barely eked out a win, and then I thought that finish showed his desperation to finally get a win, and he got it, and he was so happy, thank God I'm still in it, because he was he only had 2 points going into that.
Yeah,
and he's
he was really selling.
I don't think he was facing elimination that night, but he'd be
basically
screwed if he lost. So
he would have needed one of those wacky 7-way tiebreakers.
Yeah. So that I like the way they finished that match.
So yeah, the first few matches were all good, but then the last two were fucking awesome. This is where this show went in the next stratosphere. So Taichi defeated Yota Tsuji here in 15:58 with the Black Mephisto. That moved Taichi to 3-3 and gave Tsuji his second loss at 4-2. So Tsuji and Taichi, they were fighting on the floor early. Tsuji was playing subtle heel. He jumped in the moment he got on the apron, and he hit this basement drop kick to send them back to the floor. They just started hitting the shit out of each other. Lots of hard hitting stuff in this match. Tsuji had Taichi set up for the Gene Blast, but Taichi cracked him in the face with a very hard elbow. Then he caught him with the back chop suplex when he ran back in for a 2 count. Taichi hit the birding lariat for another 2 count, but then he pulls him up, but he pulls him straight into the short range Gene Blast that got destroyed by it. That looks so awesome. That left both guys down, and the crowd was super loud. They were chanting for both guys. They traded more lariats before Tsuji hit 2 straight running knees for a 2 count, but Taichi. So Tsuji goes up for the Marlowe Crash, where he jumps up on the middle rope. He starts jumping down for it, and Taichi hits him with a mid-air super kick. That looked fucking awesome. Hit a backdrop suplex hold for another 2 count, and then finally hit the Black Mephisto for the pin. 4 1/4. Awesome fucking match. Match of the night. I mean, the main event was awesome too, but I like this one a little better. Taichi's the MVP of this tournament.
Taichi's been fucking great. Now, do we believe that Taichi was always going to be in the tournament?
Yes.
Okay. So that is...
I think he was always going to be in this tournament. I've talked about this story already a lot.
Thought too.
Because it was too convenient they had that last Korakuen on the tour, on the Seoul tour, to have the second chance match.
I feel like they've been building up that story of him trying to... Because Taichi's been
talking
about...
the only good story they told all year.
Getting back into the G1 for months.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
I think it was on purpose. Then the main event, Yuya Uemura defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi in 1840 with the deadbolt suplex. So that moved Yuya up to 4-2 and dropped Tanahashi to 2-4. So Yuya was basically, at the start especially, he was moving around for 2 men here. He was doing constant motion all around Tana. He has been, I feel like he's leveled up in this tournament. He's been such a good worker.
Uemura? Yeah.
He's been really, really good.
He's been awesome. I mean, he's always been awesome.
But I feel like he's been even better, is what I'm saying. He was, because last year he started really hot in the G1 and I felt tapered off even before his injury. And this year so far he's been keeping at a high level all throughout the tournament. He was started to target Tanahashi's arm. Tana did a great job selling that, of course, as he always does. Yuya ended up hitting the deadbolt suplex, but Tana had started working on his knee, so Yuya could not hold the bridge because of Tana working on his knee. Which, again, that kind of wrestling, I feel, where you have a limb and you sell it and it leads to actual things in the matches, that's exactly the kind of wrestling I feel like you never get in AEW. When do you ever get that in AEW?
There's not much technical wrestling.
No limb selling, really.
They're going to come for you, John.
Well, I think my listeners, I think, know what I think of AEW at this point. I mean, not like there's not great matches in it, but they just don't do this style, is what I'm saying. You don't get that kind of psychology.
Every time you criticize AEW on,
there's one
Twitter,
guy on YouTube.
Well, I was going to ask, do people think you're a WWE mark or something?
No.
Okay.
Nobody can think I'm a WWE mark.
But people that, when you criticize WWE, do they think you're an AEW more?
Oh, they used to do that to me more. Now,
Okay.
I don't really talk about them as much on Twitter anymore because I got tired of getting yelled at, basically. But
For which one?
either one.
Oh, okay.
Yuya hits a German, but Tana no-sells it. He hits a reverse sling blade from behind. That looked awesome. Did you remember that? The reverse sling blade where he ran up from behind him? And then he hits the real sling blade, and then the high fly attack cross body. He goes back up, but Yuya rolls out of the way of the real high fly flow, and then Yuya hits one of his own for a 2 count. They have a big long strike exchange before Tana goes back to the knee with the basement dropkick. Yuya blocks the dragon screw though and cradles him for a 2 count. He goes for the cross arm breaker, but Tana rolls through it into a pin attempt. That gets another 2 count, and then a dragon suplex over another close near fall. And Tana finally gets hit with the deadbolt suplex, despite desperately trying to fight his way out of it. His desperation at the end was so great. It's like just trying to pound his way out, but that does get the pin. Another awesome match, 4 1/4, and this was a great fucking show.
Great show. Great last 2 matches.
Yeah.
Great. Was this your favorite Tanahashi match of the tournament so far? It might be for me. I don't know.
I was really high on the Taichi one too, which I went 4 1/4 on. I have a spreadsheet where I can just tell you. I think I might have I think I like that one better. So I went 4 1/4 on both of those.
Oh yeah, the Taichi match was
Yeah,
great
I
too,
had Tana Taichi slightly higher. But yeah, this was like the second best Tanahashi match.
That and the Taichi match
Yeah.
were the 2 best, yeah.
So they're both. But yeah, great show. Then we go to Hiroshima yesterday, Saturday, August 2nd. So yeah, this continued the kind of attendance turnaround. So this was 2,002 people. It was up 30 people from last year. 1,972 last year. So, and that was a Naito main. That was Naito versus Jake Blaze. So, this show, I mean, it was way down from the last show in Hiroshima, which was like Naito's last show there. I think it was like 33,000 or 3,500 or something. But that's like his second hometown. So he came out to say goodbye because how much he loves the baseball team. But yeah, back-to-back shows slightly up from last year. It was a huge winner to how the early part of the tournament was doing. And the final show we're going to talk about was up even more. So the opener was Shota Umino, the G1 opener, I should say. With Shota Umino beating Yoshihashi and 13:30 with the second chapter. That made Shota 4-3, dropped Yoshihashi to 4-2. But yeah, the start was boring, I will say. It was slow, it was a little boring. Neither guy was working with any sense of urgency at all. And they were both laying around and selling like they wouldn't through a much longer match, which always annoys when people do that. But it did really fucking pick up from there. So Shota hit this huge powerbomb for a 2 count. He went to the STF before Yoshihashi was able to make the ropes. We got a good lariat exchange, ending with Yoshihashi just wiping Shota out with one from the left side. Then he hit the Canadian Destroyer for a 2 count. They traded some big suplexes. Shota took his head off another lariat just before the 10-minute call. He went for the second chapter. Yoshihashi reversed it in midair into what was basically a Destino. I'm like, now that Naito's gone, you feel like you can take his move, asshole. But he did. I think it was basically a Destino. Yeah. It looked cool, though. That left both guys down. Yoshihashi ripped his head off with another lariat. He hit that cross-legged fisherman buster he does. But Umino reversed the Karma into a cradle for a 2 count. He escaped the Karma a second time, hit yet another enormous lariat, and then finally hit the second chapter for the win. This had such an amazing closing stretch for me. I was able to get to 3 3/4 on this, despite the slow start. So, got very good by the end. I think you just like this more, though.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't think I liked it as much as you did.
I think it might have been my match of the...
Really?
This
show?
ELP and Shingo was really good, too. And there was a bunch of 3 3/4 stuff on this show, but I think some people were higher on some of it than me. Then we had ELP and Shingo. Shingo beat ELP in 14:27 with the Last of the Dragon. That made Shingo 3-3, and that dropped ELP all the way down to 2-5. So the TV champion not doing very well. I believe this officially eliminated him.
Yeah. So. He's the first one eliminated. I think he's the only one eliminated.
I think so. So Shingo kept trying to... The crowd was doing some ELP chants to start, and Shingo kept trying to get him to chant TKG. Thought that was kind of funny. The match was all right for a little while to start. It did pick up. The big flaw with ELP's matches for me is I just don't find all his high-flying remotely impressive, and he does so much of it, and it always kind of looks like it's at half speed to me. But they did do a really, really cool closing stretch again that kind of saved it. So ELP went for the CR2 on the apron. Shingo escaped it, hit a Death Valley driver out there instead. They just were going back and forth with some really great action after that. And Shingo did kind of like almost like a praying mantis bomb from the same setup as a CR2, like where he just kind of picked him up and dropped him straight down his head. That looked really cool. Then he hit the pumping bomber for a 2 count, and finally lost the dragon. Someone's going vroom vroom outside. It might be picked up by the mic. But yeah, I thought this was easily the best ELP match of the tournament so far. So I went 3 3/4. Or actually, no, forget about the Zack match. That was the best match of the ELP match of the tournament. This was second best.
Yeah.
So 3 3/4. Very good match by the end, and ELP's been a little more tolerable lately, I will say. And Shingo's always Shingo. I mean, he's always great.
Yeah, this was better because they have a story. They have a
That's true.
past feud. They had stuff
Daddy,
like
who's your daddy?
this match meant something. They were talking shit in backstage promos before that.
This match, I saw some people go nuts for this. I didn't really get it. I thought this match was fine. Konosuke Takeshita beat Drilla Maloney in 14:01.
I thought this match was pretty good. I don't think if they're going. I didn't go nuts for it, but I guess
I seem to be the lower person. So they fought to the outside. Takeshita suplexed Drilla on some chairs. It was a very slow-paced start again. Drilla missed an elbow drop off the top. He bounced really hard on his elbow on the mat. That looked like it sucked for him. Drilla did eventually get the elbow drop on the second try. It was funny how he flipped Takeshita off on the way down because remember Takeshita injured his boy. They did a forearm exchange. That felt like it went on for an eternity, and it wasn't very heated or anything for me either.
That was when the match kind of slowed down a little bit for me, yeah.
And I thought it was already pretty slow.
I remember that. I was like...
neither guy was hitting each other very hard. Takeshi bit him on the top of the head for some reason. I was like...
Yeah,
okay.
that felt like they screamed of desperation.
Drilla did hit a very nice rebound lariat for a 2 count. That was cool. But every time I would start getting into this, it felt like it would just stop in its tracks, which was very annoying. Takeshita escaped the Drilla killer and powered him straight into the Raging Fire for the pin. I don't know, it never vibed with me. It was 3 stars. Gentleman's 3. I didn't really care for that much.
I think I liked it a little better.
Yeah. Then the main event, which again, I saw a lot of people like this a lot more than I did, which I still thought was very good, but I saw some people say match of the tournament, which I wasn't nearly that high on it. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Great Okan. I should say for the last match, because it's not on the website for some reason, just put Takeshita at 8 points and kept Drilla at 8.
None of them for the previous match doesn't have it either.
Zack here went to 8 points for winning this and also kept Great Okan at 8. So they did a lot of funky mat wrestling, as you probably expect. Good stuff, they were going back and forth on the mat. The first 10 minutes, I will say, flew by. They were trading a lot of submission attempts. Had a very good natural transition where Great Okan and Zack fighting for control, standing up, and Okan turned it into kind of this backdrop suplex. That looked pretty cool. Great Okan was tossing him around from the head and arm choke position. He nearly choked him out before Zack was able to suddenly kick his way to the ropes. Zack got a triangle. Great Okan tried to get the claw, but then he was able to powerbomb his way out of it. And Great Okan, he was throwing the Mongolian chop with only one arm because he was selling his arm being beaten down. That was pretty cool. Definitely a nice touch. Eventually, Great Okan got the Eliminator out of nowhere, but only got a 2 count. Zack came back with the Zack driver. Great Okan kicked out, so Zack went straight into the triangle off the kick out, but Okan got the claw from there. Zack turned it into an armbar, though, and Great Okan had no choice but to tap. So, I thought this was very good. It never just quite got to the next level for me, so it was 3 3/4 again. It was either this or Shota Yoshi for match of the night. I guess I would go with this. I guess I'd say this was match of the night. But yeah, not a bad night, but again, nothing great either for me. So
I do have a quick question for you after this match. What are the odds, you think, of Zack Sabre Jr. winning the G1 again this year?
0%.
I'm only asking that just because I had a crazy thought. Because did you watch the backstage commentary after this match?
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, he spent some of it, just randomly brought up Aaron Wolf and started talking shit about him, Zack. And it made me think, why the fuck? That's what I was thinking. Maybe Jack wins in a complete shock. Zack wins it again and challenges Aaron Wolf. And maybe Aaron Wolf wins the title in his opening match and they really put the rocket to him. I mean, I don't think this is happening. This is but it just made me think why. I mean, that couldn't. Because I keep thinking, if it's not, who's Zack defending against at the Tokyo Dome?
I don't know. It could be.
Is it Umino again?
He could lose
I guess he could. But then who?
Tsuji or something.
I guess. There's no set match. But this definitely has to be where they go. I'm thinking. I have no. Do you think it could be
Zack
Zack and
and
Umino again?
I don't think so.
Gato loves to do his rematches at the Tokyo
Yeah.
Dome and be like, he couldn't win it before, but could he win it this time? I mean, how many times did Tanahashi and Okada face off at the Tokyo Dome? It took I don't think that's going to happen, but it made me think that's a possibility. I don't know.
Guess we'll see. All right, so if you called it first, I guess.
I guess if
they're on audio.
Yeah.
So our B block standings, since this was the last B block show of the week. So it's a little weird in B because remember some people have wrestled 6 matches, wrestled quotation marks because of the bye, and some people only have wrestled 7. So it's a 5-way tie for first. These people all have 8 points, and they're all 4-2. So Yoshihashi, Drilla Maloney, Ren Narita, Takeshita, and ZSJ. They're all 4-2 for 8 points. You have 2 more wrestlers at with 8 points, but they're both 4-3. So Zack Sabre Jr. and Great 3 more wrestlers, I should say. Zack Sabre Jr., Great Khan, and Shota Umino, they're all 4-3 for 8 points. Then you have Shingo at 3-3. He's only wrestled 6 matches as well, with 6 points. ELP 2-5 with 4 points. He's of course eliminated. No, there's 2 people eliminated, buddy. Gabe Kidd.
Oh yeah, well, people that are actually active.
Yes, 0-9, obviously, 0 points. So there you go. The last show I was to talk about was from earlier today, August 3rd in Fukuoka, the Fukuoka Kokusai Center. So this show was up big from last year. So this is our first big year-over-year growth. This was 2,534. Last year only did 1,757 for the Naito Sonata main. No one cared about that Tokyo Dome rematch apparently. I think maybe part of the momentum too. Some of these buildings where they are not actually going to return in the rest of the year, maybe they actually showed up to see Tanahashi one more time.
That's something.
I think that might have happened in Takamatsu and might have happened.
And once they come back without Tanahashi.
Because I don't think they go back to Fukuoka the rest of the year. Because that's all the way out in Kyushu. I don't think they do another show there. I'm pretty sure. So the G1 opener here was Bolton Oleg beating Callum Newman in 10:54 the Kamikaze. That gave Bolton 8 points while Callum stuck at 6. I heard people in the Voice of Wrestling Slack and some other places raving about this match, and when I watched it, I was like, really?
Yeah, I thought the same thing while we were watching it.
I thought this was all right.
You told me that, and I was like, okay.
So Callum came out fast against Bolton. He had a running kick to him along the apron to when Bolton on the floor. Then he was whipping him in the railing. Again, he's being aggressive, which I guess is cool. He was selling a back injury throughout the match. He did a good job selling it, I'd say. But it was a pre-existing back injury, I guess. The toll of the tour throughout. Bolton tried for the Kamikaze. He got the F5 when Callum. He went for the F5 when Callum blocked the Kamikaze, but Callum reversed it with the Rana. I thought that looked a little slow and a little awkward. Bolton then hit the pop-up Kamikaze for a 2 count. Callum came back with a top rope double stomp, but he was still selling his back, so he took forever for him to cover, and Bolton was able to kick out. Callum did hit a nice series of slaps at one point. So he's selling his back throughout the match. When he dropped down behind Bolton, he landed on his feet perfectly and just ran against the ropes and hit this fucking ran forward nothing was wrong.
I remember you called that out and you were like, that's odd. He was selling it so good up to that point, and then all of a sudden,
he was like, now my back's fine. But then Bolton caught him with the Kamikaze, and that got the pin. ELP was putting over on commentary too. I just was this is 2 3/4 to me. I thought it was all right.
I thought there was too much of just Newman just beating up Oleg and beating him and beating him and beating him and beating him, and then he just came back and won. And
next match was awesome though. So there are 2 matches on the show I really liked, and a couple other ones were good. So this is still a pretty good show overall. But Ryohei Oiwa, easy for me to say, beats Taichi in 11:50 with the grip, moving up to 8 points, and Taichi stuck at 6. So a very quick pace to this one, which was a welcome change after how slow the last match was. Taichi, he absolutely dropped Oiwa on the back of his head with a high-angle backdrop suplex at one point, and then they started with the lariats. So this was the lariat match, basically. They traded repeated hard lariats. Taichi finally put him down with an axe bomber. Taichi got his own spinning lariat on Oiwa, just like the grip, and then followed by a sliding lariat for a 2 count just after the 10-minute call. Oiwa blocked the birding lariat from Taichi and hit his own short-range lariat for a 2 count. That one could have looked a little more impactful, I want to nitpick, but Taichi countered the grip again with his own short-range lariat, but Oiwa then put him down with another lariat. He blocked the enzigiri with his own lariat. He no-sold a second enzigiri from Taichi, and then he hit the grip with a pin. This is the ultimate lariat battle. I really liked it. I went 4 stars on it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, this was probably my second favorite match of the show. I think I liked the next match a little bit better, but this was fun.
I like this. This was my match of the show. Next match was Sanada defeating Uemura by 11:41. It was a guitar shot, so they just write pinfall. But yeah, that got Sanada up to 6 points, or it was Uemura.
Why does it just say guitar to head?
Yeah, I don't know. Sanada had some kind of like shiny see-through jacket. ELP was comparing it to like a shower curtain or something. Or
yeah,
no,
I remember.
I think it was Walker who said that.
Oh, it was a Walker?
Said it looked like
I remember one of them said
it. Yeah. Well, it looked pretty cool though, actually. First 5 minutes, not a ton was happening. It was mostly Yuya working over Sanada's arm. Sanada did hit a nice Shining Wizard just before the 5-minute call. Both guys were repeatedly escaping out of suplex attempts. They just kept flipping backwards behind each other before Yuya finally hit a backdrop suplex, which left both guys down. Thought it was interesting. Sanada was working this totally clean at this point, although that would change. Yuya tried to use Sanada's old O'Connor roll on him, almost pinned him with it, and Sanada then whipped Yuya into Marty and finally fought dirty, hit a low blow on him. He went for the guitar. He missed the guitar shot and it broke on the mat, which was not supposed to happen.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But Sanada kind of got a look on his face like, now what?
He missed the guitar shot and it broke when it hit the mat. I already said that already. Yuya cradled him, but there was no ref. Kanemaru ran down. He spit the whiskey in his face. So Yuya like grabbed him with a deadbolt, and you were like, "That's pretty stupid, buddy."
Yeah, because then he looked at him in his face like with his eyes directly open, and like, you're the only one that doesn't know what's coming. But okay.
Sanada gets the half remaining guitar and broke it over his head. Still shattered really nice.
Yeah, no, it's still.
And that got the pin when Kanemaru revived the ref. I thought this was good, despite the first 5 minutes being a little boring. I went 3.5.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought the antics were fun for once, and I thought Sanada and Uemura had some great exchanges. I think Sanada's really still athletic and really good, especially considering, like, how is he 40 yet, or is he in his late 30s?
I don't know how old.
You don't have to look it up. But
I'm curious now. Let's see.
I thought his.
Give me your guess. How old do you think Sanada is?
I don't know. I'll go like 39.
39. Okay.
I mean, I thought he was in his 40s now.
Sanada is actually 37.
Okay.
He just turned
37. So he wasn't
years.
as old as I thought he was. Okay. For some reason, I thought he was a lot older. I don't know why, but.
Then we had this was my great antics match. David Finlay.
This was fun too. Yeah.
David Finlay defeats Evil in 10:31 with the overkill. So the comeback continued. That got him to 6 points. Evil stuck on 8 points. So obviously the lights are completely out during Evil's entrance, and Finlay fucking comes out of nowhere and attacks him in the dark during the entrance.
That was clever.
And Evil had brought out the dog collar with him again that they used back at Dominion, and so basically Finlay starts choking him with it. Gato attacked Dick Togo. I thought they were going to disappear over the back for the rest of the match and just leave Fale, but they ended up coming back out later anyway. But yeah, Finlay beats Evil all around ringside. He was an honorary hate member for the night because he was throwing Evil into the chairs at ringside. Then they end up back at ringside after the bell rang. Fale was beating up Finlay a bit. Evil grabbed the mic and said, "You are already dead, motherfucker."
Yeah, that was
so
an odd. Yeah.
Oh my god. "You are already dead,
motherfucker."
Yeah. Evil tossed a chair to Gato. This was stupid but also funny. So Evil has a chair. He tossed it to Gato. And the ref looks at Gato like, "How'd you get that chair?"
Yeah, the Red Shoes saw him throw it to him, and then he started yelling at Gato, who immediately dropped it.
Like,
and he kept yelling at Gato while the other wrestlers like...
This stuff pisses people off so bad. I thought it was funny, so I can handle a little comedy in my house matches. I know it's the G1, fucking cry me a river.
And Finlay won anyway.
Yeah. That leads to dick-to-dick contact. I don't know why Gato didn't just drop the chair either.
Didn't he do that, though?
He eventually did drop the chair, but he could have done it immediately.
Right away. Okay.
Maybe he did. Then why was Red Shoe still looking at him?
Because that was the spot. He had to be distracted.
Finlay gets some offense. Red Shoes then gets squashed by Fale in the corner, which lets them go 3-1 on Finlay. And he got piggybacked out by Young Ryan, which I thought was funny, giving him the emergency piggyback ride. Finlay managed to low blow all 3 house members. He fucking suplexed Fale. And the crowd is going fucking berserk at this point. This match, I believe, was the loudest reaction Finlay's ever gotten in his career.
Yeah.
So I never want to hear from people that house stuff doesn't get over with the crowd. Because the crowd is going fucking crazy. Evil cut Finlay off again with a low blow of his own. He went for the dog collar chain and was choking him with it. But Finlay ducks Evil going for a chain-assisted lariat. And he speared Evil out of his boots. Gato brought the shillelagh back, which I believe Evil broke, right? So I think that was like the big symbolic thing. He got a new shillelagh. He nailed Evil with it twice, just for the 10-minute call. A new ref ran out to count, but Finlay pulls Evil up, gives him the middle finger, hits the overkill, and gets the pin. Crowd went nuts.
Awesome.
I don't know, man. The people who hate this stuff, I'm just like, sometimes it gets to me too. But when
it took
works,
the place the Yano stuff.
when it works, it really worked. I went 4 stars on this.
Did people used to get mad about the Yano
Yes,
stuff? Okay.
every year. 4 stars.
This match was so much better than their dog collar match because they did it all in 10 minutes and they didn't move at, the speed of a fucking, continental drift or anything. It was so much better. This match was great.
I thought it was awesome.
And I was dreading this match.
4 stars, you can fight me if you don't agree.
I'm not going to fight you.
Well, I thought you said you liked it anyway.
No, I'm just saying. No, I did like it. I'm letting you know. Yeah, 4 stars. Yeah.
Okay. That's the way he said that, which was kind of funny. The main event, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Yota Tsuji in 16:46 with the high fly flow. That got Tana up to 6 points and kept Tsuji at 8. So Yota was working on Tana's leg for a while, which was not the most exciting start. It did eventually pick up. It still felt like it was missing a little something to me compared to some of the other Tana versus Young Guy matches. Tana blocked the Gene Blast with a sling blade. Tsuji rolled out of the way of the high fly flow. We got these big hard slaps to the chest as I pantomime for Quinlan again for no reason. Before Tsuji puts him down with a huge headbutt and then curb stomps him. The best visual of the match was he gives him the curb stomp. Tana's like slowly trying to crawl up to his feet, and Tsuji's like, "Don't make me do it again, old man," and like curb stomps him again. That was a great visual. The crowd was getting behind Tana. They were chanting for him. Although I thought they were more into Tsuji or Finlay in the last match, honestly. Tana managed to sidestep the Gene Blast and hit a Dragon Suplex hold for a close 2 count just before the 15-minute call. Then we get the full course. He gets the high fly attack, cross body, the high fly flow to the back, and I thought for sure Tsuji's going to get his knees up. But no, he just hit the high fly flow to the front and he beat him.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be something else there too. Is this the first win he's gotten with the high fly flow on the G1, or was one of his previous 2 wins?
He beat Taichi with it, didn't he?
He did? Okay.
I think so.
I know he won at least one of the match with like a roll-up.
Yeah.
Or...
I think he beat Taichi with the high fly flow.
Okay.
So this is his 100th G1 win ever.
Yeah.
This is the 100th one.
And he did 3 musical performances and was crying and...
Yeah, it had to be his last name, Fukuoka, the way he was crying.
Yeah.
Because it's a big, it's a wrestling town. I mean, they always do good crowds at Kintaku and stuff. They even used to be able to run the Fukuoka Dome back in the day.
Yeah.
3.5-star match. I thought it was good, just not quite as great as some of the other ones he did. But yeah, this was a really good show, I thought.
Yeah.
Some really good stuff on this show. Another good showing for A Block. So, the A Block standings here, these are really easy. So, Tsuji, Evil, Yuya, Bolton, Oiwa, all tied for first, 4 and 3, 8 points. Taichi, Cowan, Tanahashi, Sonata, Finlay, all tied 3 and 4 for 6 points. So yeah, I have no idea who's getting through this block. I mean, I guess we'll find out soon enough. All right, so before we get out of here, a quick look ahead at what's coming up next week in the G1, which I think a few of these you might talk about with me, and a few of these you might not. I don't know. We'll have to see what our Otakon schedules look like. Well, definitely not the Tuesday show, unless you want to get on a call with me and talk about it. I don't know. The Tuesday show from Osaka, that is from the Intex Hall, Osaka 5, which is a new Osaka venue, I believe. I don't think they've done that one before. So that has 4 B block matches. It's Yoshihashi versus Takeshita, Great Okan versus Ren Narita, ELP versus Drilla Maloney, and Shingo Takagi versus Zack Sabre Jr. So there's some stuff there that could be good. I could see if Narita and Okan keep it most on the mat, that could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And Shingo versus Zack.
Shingo versus Zack is usually good. So we'll see. Not really excited for EOP and Drilla, but Yoshihashi Takeshita, could be good.
Sure.
Then we go to Korakuen on Thursday, the show you and I are going to have to watch on Amtrak, probably, on our way down to DC. So that is Korakuen Hall, so always a big show. We have Taichi versus Callum Newman. So this starts Taichi's little revenge tour where he's facing both the people eliminating him in the in the qualifiers the last 2 years. So he has Callum first. They have Bolton Oleg versus Evil, Tanahashi versus Sonata, Yuya Uemura versus Ryohei Oiwa in the semi-main, and Yota Tsuji versus David Finlay, which is a rematch of a global title match I really loved back at the Tokyo Dome. So yeah, the 2 double mains could be good, especially Korakuen, which will be really hot. So.
Then
Then we we go to Yokohama next on Friday Yokohama Budokan back to B block. That has ELP versus Yoshihashi, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Drilla Maloney, Shingo Takagi versus Red Narita, and Takeshita versus Shota Umino. Made their first meeting ever, I believe.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. That could be really good. And then the last show of the week that we'll talk about in next week's episode, Sunday from G Messi Gunma. This is the first block final. So we don't know the order yet. So this is the last show for the A block. So it's Yuya Uemura versus David Finlay, Taichi versus Bolton Oleg, Tanahashi versus Evil, Yota Tsuji versus Callum Newman, and Ryohei Oiwa versus Sonata. So we'll have all the advancement scenarios going in that show. We'll know who has a chance to move on and who doesn't. And we'll see what it comes down to. I have a feeling Yuya Finlay might be like a winning get-in match. Maybe also Tsuji, or no, who's Tsuji?
Maybe
Tsuji and Callum, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Tanahashi Evil.
Maybe Tanahashi Evil, yeah.
It's hard to say.
We'll see. So there you go, folks. That is your G1 coverage for the week. So yeah, we got it. We got through everything. Only an hour and 16, which is good because I did 2 hours by myself on the other on the STARDOM shows.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a lot to talk about.
Like to talk to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith talking to myself.
He went 3.5 hours.
He went 3 hours and 40
minutes. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
So.
Well, 10 minutes. He was 10 minutes late, so 3.5 hours.
Okay.
And he only took one sip of water. That's something I couldn't do.
Anything you want to plug, buddy?
No.
Okay, so folks,
I don't really use much social media anymore.
The way you guys, that was so funny. I don't know, just looked right at me now. All right, folks. So we'll be back next week. So next week, similar to this week, again, a weird show because I don't want to give up doing the G1 and the 5-star, but I just kind of have to record the shows
in DC.
Well, and I'm going to record throughout the week. So we'll just do a chronological order. I'll do all the G1 and 5-star shows again, but chronologically. So like we'll do the G1 show Tuesday, or the G1 show Tuesday, then the 5-star show Wednesday, and the G1 show Thursday, etc. So you can follow us on Twitter as always at Wrestle Omakase, Wrestling Would Not Fit. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Just1MB. And again, thank you for bearing with me this week and next week with the weird formats because of the travel I'm doing with going to this Kevin Smith thing this week and then going to Otakon next week. But I didn't want to abandon you guys with the G1 and the 5-star. I have so many fans on the Discord who are like actually thrilled the show is back, which is, I am obviously it was kind of a humble brag, but it's just kind of humbling in general. Like, thank you guys. Like, just hearing the people listen to these long ass podcasts I do about Japanese wrestling every week is very cool. So I appreciate it, and the fact that you guys get value out of it. And I don't want to be like, obviously there's other places to get Japanese wrestling talk, but I feel like there's less of it than ever on the flagship, which I understand. They cover a lot of American wrestling now, and it's probably the more exciting scene to a more neutral observer. But I almost feel like we're filling a niche where we're covering a lot of different Japanese stuff, and every single week. So, and we'll get back to the other promotions I've been covering too. It's just really hard to watch and follow anything else when you're doing these big tournaments.
Yeah, when they're two, especially at the same time.
Two at the same time. It's just like every day, it's like boom, boom,
owned by
boom,
the
boom,
same
boom.
people.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
So, well, they didn't. You know why they didn't want to do that? So the 5-star was not always owned by Bushiroad. I think they didn't want to move it and piss off the Stardom fans and be like, yeah, well, of course we can't move the G1, so we're moving your stupid little.
So they just kept it.
So they just kept it. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't run. The G1's going to end before the 5-star ends, so there will be. There was a little period where there's just the G1
a little bit,
and there'll be a little period where there's just the 5-star. But yeah, there is the overlap here. All right, folks. So I guess that's it then. So I will see you all next time.
Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, We talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're crushing morning miles or sprinting through back-to-back meetings, give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.